is there an elite force of higher elevation mountaineering trade? Yeah, that's cool, man. Right on, Kevin. That's cool. I had spoken with a guy from the Snow Leopard Force. I guess they're arch enemies of the Ibex troop. And, yeah, you guys have some things to work out between yourselves, I guess.
So this is a creationism room. It's about like creating things, because I like creating things. I'm a very creative person.
Well, it depends on what you mean by create. The strictest definition of the word create, i.e. like what religious people use it as, is something, i.e. the universe,
coming grassroots amongst the astroturf. Like, maybe I'm arguing for,
and that's usually the way the believers or the people who posit the universe was created by a god through some kind of like magic.
Did somebody say magic?
Welcome there, Progressive. Can you imagine what that thing progressive?
Hey, boys and girls. I'm part of the Mountain Goat Wizard Warrior faction. I just came down from the mountains to fight you all because I think you're all weak and pathetic, and the fact that you're sitting here having a conversation during work hours at a work week is pathetic. How many times is Honey gonna do the same game? And Abby escaped from Chernobyl. Have you seen what Abby looks like?
I was on YouTube.
oh yeah, I have this too.
I'm scrolling, and John Kitover's fucking live stream is popping up on my YouTube with 2 fucking viewers. Although you're just chair streaming. I actually thought about joining, and it was just your fucking chair. You can't...
Hi, Joanna. Welcome to the room, Joanna.
The other phones, you have to find this other stuff.
I think you're gonna... I don't think you have enough phones. I think what are you at? You're at like 28 phones? I think if you're trying to become mayor, you need at least 50.
Oh, we're way past 50.
I think he's at 100 now.
Yeah, we're close to 100 cell phones in this house.
100 cell phones? Oh my god.
Why does this faggot retard keep muting me? Stop muting me, Mark. You're too progressive. You're too progressive. And stop tricking all these creationists coming to your playroom. You're just gay, like Kevin.
We all gay. It's like we're all creationists, because we all believe that things are created. Right? I mean, whether or not you believe God created things, or something else created things, or nothing created things, we all believe in creating.
By the definition of the word create, if you mean like you made a painting or you sort of were creative with a painting, then okay, I mean, if that's what you mean, but that's not what the word means.
That is what I mean. I'm very creative.
By the world or the universe coming into existence, some from nothing.
I mean, what is nothing? The absence of something. But if there's nothing, then how can you have nothing? Don't you need something for there to be nothing?
Yeah,
This is relative.
I think so too.
Damn.
Crazy stuff.
We got some pairing of opposites.
It is. That's why I'm fine saying that the concept of nothing. I can't even wrap my head on that concept, which doesn't mean it's not something that I should consider as being a real feature of the universe. But when the theist talks about it, it gets messy, and I think it's fine to just say that something has always existed. That's my position. I don't think that there ever was nothing. You know.
I mean, even if you're...
Furthermore, which is like, we don't even really have like the ability to know that's the limitation of our knowledge. So, like, you have to just admit that you don't know, like, the origin of the universe, like everybody else. You have to just finally break and face with reality and go, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know and you don't know. Nobody knows.
I mean,
And I have to be okay with that, and you have to be okay with that.
and I mean, how can they say it's preposterous to think that there's always been something when presumably they think that there's always been God, right? Why is that any less preposterous than saying that there's always been something?
It's not that it's any more or less preposterous. It's just on equal ground. If I were to say the universe always existed, and there's no need to posit this God, or even to assume a God. And that's where the next problem would always lie on the believer, is the assumption that there's this God. Where if I'm just going to take it on the face value, I'm not going to take this stuff on an assumption. I'm going to go with what I know.
I don't think it's really worth debating creationists or the existence of God or any of these things. I've never seen a good, good one of these.
Well, it's
debates.
worth discussing because it's probably one of the biggest questions of our existence. But debating, no, because I don't understand what the point of a debate is. Some people seem to understand.
This is fucking beautiful!
You don't want to come to
This
the
is beautiful!
discussion assuming ahead of time that you're correct and the other person is incorrect. That's not going to really do anything.
Over and over again.
I just think it's really strange how willing these guys are to be dishonest, like outright. Like when you ask them, just like if you beat them to the punch and you just say, now look, I want to get this out there before we get into this. You just say, hey, I'm not like Christians and Muslims. I don't believe that things just pop into existence out of nothing. Okay, and if you just put that forth first, they're like, wait, what did he just say? And now they're distracted. And they're like, wait, did he just say Christians think that way? And then they'll want to defy that in their minds, right? But then when you ask them a couple questions after that, they reveal that that's exactly what they think. And I just find it super dishonest when they try to dodge that fact.
I thought you were going to say once they're distracted, you kick them in the nuts or something. And then you scream that you've won the debate. March around with your hands up in the air in victory. I am the master of debate. I am the master debater.
Do you guys ever follow any guys that debate on YouTube and stuff? Ever seen Breakfast Tacos? Kevin, ever seen his channel?
I haven't seen him, but I've watched my fair share of internet debates.
Yeah. There's this guy, they do it pretty frequently, and they're trying to make a channel of themselves and all that. And it's pretty good. But what's funny is I was on there the other day, and there's a debate that they were having on YouTube, and the opening has this AI generated song. It's got to be AI generated, and it's kind of like this metal song that would make Roy this freaking puke. But it's kind of catchy and it's funny, and it's the lyrics are hilarious, dude. Because all they're doing is promoting this bloodbath debates, or what they call it. I think they call it bloodbath. Yeah, I don't know. It's really funny, dude. I'll find it and I'll post it. It's just I had to give them props. I'm like, dude, that that opening song is fucking hilarious, dude. It's so catchy and funny, and I don't know. It's just funny. Like when you get into this shit, you realize the people that aren't afraid of like being, I don't know, counterculture or atheistic in their claims. It just becomes fun and games and humorous, and it's just like so funny. And then these other guys are like so serious and like dishonest. It's so fucking just so crazy to me to witness this shit.
I'm gonna be honest. I think philosophy is kind of gay and stupid. I think that's the conclusion that I've come to.
Do you mean all philosophy is idiocy or stupidity? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I think almost all of it. I think pretty stupid. I think people. I think that like having a grasp of facts is very tedious and annoying to people. And if you instead of like arguing the facts of a particular issue, you can just philosophize about it, and then no one can really like prove you wrong in any concrete way because you've developed some sort of reasoning system that's philosophically. I get soundness and validity mixed up sometimes, but I guess it's internally sound but not actually valid.
I believe the two are incompatible, with the criteria that you're going for. It has to be proven. That's where it fails, actually. The philosophy fails there completely. And I can understand it looks stupid. But we don't have any other method to prove anything about it. Or to prove anything at all. Yeah. And if you don't philosophize, if you don't go to philosophy, then you're limiting yourself in life. It's good to dream. Have a positive outlook on what's beyond rather than what it is. Otherwise, it kills the argument right there. You can't prove it in reality. It's stupid. I don't even want to talk about it. What's the point of debating it at all?
That's a good point. What is the point of debating it at all?
Fun,
Yeah, entertainment, I guess.
entertainment, and exposure. Because a lot of people like the fact that the United States in 2026 has a Department of War head who uses scripture in front of fucking soldiers and in public fucking displays. We have, grown adults pretending that there's religious holy wars going on in the Middle East and shit like that. Like, that's a problem.
That's a well used tool since the beginning of time, and it shall be used by all these methodologists in the future as well. You can't say it's a bad thing. These people in those positions have to do that. They need to justify it somehow, right?
No, they don't. Paula Dean, this fucking grifting, cheating fucking bitch in the United States that is Donald Trump's spiritual advisor, does not need to be
Wait, no, not Paula Dean.
No, I know. I'm saying all these people. He said no. It's gonna be.
Wait, no, I don't think that's her. Isn't Paula Dean like the fat bitch that cooks?
Paula White?
Oh, maybe her name's Paula Dean White.
I think Paula Dean is like the fat Southern lady that makes fried chicken and says the N word.
Her name's yeah, maybe it is.
I think this is a microaggression. You're getting your old racist ladies mixed up.
It's called misattribution.
Sorry, Kane. Paula White Kane, not Dean. Yeah. I mean, the fact that she's speaking publicly in the Oval Office and everyone just accepts that and allows that and like nods their head and smiles and claps and just shuts the fuck up and doesn't call this shit out. And when Pete Hegseth is on a fucking national stage and he's talking to cameras and like military people who are grown adult men and women, yeah, it's a fucking problem, bro. Yeah, I don't like it.
I see you like to keep religion out of the statehood, I guess.
I like to keep the religion out of statehood.
Yeah, I mean, people shouldn't use that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think any grown adult who has influence in politics or any kind of policy making should be using God as a reason to go kill kids. Yeah.
That's a given then. I totally agree with that. But unfortunately, that's how they work. And if you look across the world, there are countries who use religion more than the US does, to justify their actions.
Who does more than the U.S.?
In many countries out there are, more. They mix up basically religion with.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and what the irony is, the people who sit in the United States, with a cell phone in their hand, looking at their Instagram accounts, ready to order another pizza, they write countries off like that as being like inferior and like lower class, not as educated, not as correct as them, right? Which I think is funny because the U.S. is just as complicit and just as guilty of the same thing.
Absolutely.
That's mostly, honestly, like, when in real life, if I ever get shit or giggles from friends or people that know that I actually engage, at least even to this extent, against, or debating against religious bullshit and all that stuff, that's how I justify it. I go, take a look, dude. Like, if you want to say this isn't a real problem, that's on you. Then you're part of the problem, because that's why it's a problem, because everyone just fucking ignores it. At least that's my opinion. I think it's weird when we sit around and we go, wait, what? How did what? No way. That would never happen. No way. What? I'm so shocked. And I'm just looking around going, how are you shocked? Like, look what's going on.
I mean, I agree with all that. What am I gonna do about it? I show up, I press the button. It's what I do. Once every 2 years, show up, press the button, press what I think is the right button. Move on. Call people retards on the internet. I do that too. I press the button and I call people retards.
I like to engage with people and then get them to say stupid, rancid shit out loud, and then ask them more questions to get them to say more stupid, rancid shit, and then like get them to double down on it, and then say some more stupid, rancid shit. I think it's funny.
Look at you. You're manifesting a lot of.
I saw a funny thing.
I would say.
I saw a funny thing that was it said like, bro, that's an ad hominem attack. I said, this isn't a debate and I don't respect you. I'm just calling you stupid. Like,
Well, that's not really a debate then anymore, right?
I agree. It's not a debate. It's not a debate. I'm just insulting them because I think they're stupid. Yeah, it's not. I can't. I would be elevating them to make them think they're even worth debating. If you've accepted the debate, you've already lost. You've
Well, right, and technically speaking, most people misuse the term ad hominem, just like they misuse the term begging the question. I see it all the time, dude. People
yeah.
it's crazy, and so like, it's just, oh, they don't like that you said something mean about them, therefore it's ad hominem, and that's technically not what ad hominem.
No, yeah. If you like give a thoughtful rebuttal to their point, and then afterwards say you're a retard, that's not an ad hom. From my understanding, at least.
Yeah, it'd be ad hom if you said, well, that assessment that you just made and the way you laid out your principles of the argument that you're trying to put forth are invalid because you're a retard.
Yeah. And also, maybe that's an implicit appeal to authority, because you're kind of saying, like, that non-retards have a more valid perspective.
It's not really argument. I mean, that is the definition of ad hominem. It pretty much kills the whole discussion if you go there. How is someone going to come back from it? If you call them, hey, you're an idiot, that's why your argument doesn't count. That's not a very good way of argumenting, I would say. Or you should always keep the central point in the middle. Forget the person who's in front of you. Then you can have more of a productive discussion, right? Otherwise, it just becomes ego talk, man. We'll see who can get the best stupid words out, and to make other persons feel smaller, or try to at least.
Yo, how you guys are? I didn't even know about this Paula White Kane person. I'm reading about her. It's just a crazy.
It's embarrassing, dude. But I mean, if you think about it, like, it's perfect for Trump, right? Like, that's totally Trump's spiritual advisor. If it was Obama's spiritual advisor, it'd be something different if he had to have one, right? Like, it just, that's just insane, dude.
If you want to check out crazy people, Kenneth Copeland, it's another, it's basically along the lines of Paula White, similar, Kenneth Copeland. Even his looks, he looks like he's straight out of some horror movie.
Yeah, that dude's a scary dude. Jeff, Mr. T.
Good pool. What's going on, guys?
We were just pitying some fools.
As we do.
Get it? Pitying some fools, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mark, speaking of the creationism thing, why is it like every time you talk with a Christian and you get them to like start explaining themselves about this creationism stuff or whatever, they just like they go to the most rudimentary bad reasoning. Like they start talking like about buildings, and cell phones, and computers, and they like try to make this analogy. It's just so bizarre to me that it's missed.
You're talking about the classic watchmaker analogy?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
I get confused a lot of times just in a response. Like, I don't even know where I'm even at. Like, I'll hear them go and they'll give me some response, and I get lost. I'm like, we've taken a left turn already, and I don't even know where we're going.
Yeah, it's just strange. I really don't understand how, like, it seems like as soon as they start talking, you should be able to interrupt them and go, yeah, I agree. Humans create things. And then what they do is they jump and they go, so what do you think? Humans made the mountains? Can you make a planet? Like, it's just the weirdest speech patterns and reasoning I've ever come across most of the time. It's fucking crazy.
Well, and you can't interrupt anybody, because then they get all worked up about being interrupted, and then that becomes like a side discussion or a waste of time for like maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, man, I was just gonna land. Let me land. Let me
I think this is the funniest thing. People don't understand the difference between when somebody makes a point and you like to address that point before they move on, and they're done with that point, they start talking about something else, interrupting to address that point, versus when you are outlining a series of premises and you haven't yet made the point, and they jump in one of the premises, and they don't see a difference between these two things. I mean, that annoys the fucking shit out of me.
I think it's mostly because it's defensive posturing, and they're just unaware of it, and it's subconscious. So like, it's always defensive, and so that's just where they're starting, and so it just gets like that, and becomes a shit show.
My wife and I just did IVF. The creator, my baby, has a creator. His name is Dr. Mohammed Irani. He's I'm the creator of my child.
That statement in the room didn't sound dumb at all.
True story.
Hey, Rust, are you a Muslim?
Hey, I'm not, no.
Oh, okay. Are you a follower of Christ by chance?
No, I'm an atheist.
Oh. See, this room's already getting boring. We're just a bunch of normal people up here. Next, we're gonna be talking about movies and shit.
I love movies. I talk about movies all day.
All right, everyone has to. Okay, after this, I'm gonna say break, and everyone has to leave the room and go grab Christians and Muslims and bring them back. Okay.
I'll play everyone's favorite Christian apologist. The Christian God doesn't exist because...
Any presuppositionalist, but that's the famous Darth Dawkins.
Exactly.
And lately, by the way, that smug shithead Andrew has been using that one. Last time I went into his room, he kind of used that one on me. Or the reverse of it, you know.
Christianity is like trivially easy to disprove.
Trivially easy. Well, yeah, in some aspects. Okay, so everybody's quiet in the room. The reason of the room why I name it creationism, because I get into the discussion about creationism with believers. And lately, within the last month or so, and it's been in the news, which means it's been in the real world scientifically discovered longer than it's been in the news. We have developed this synthetic biological organism that replicates in the lab like life. This is going to have profound sort of repercussions when it comes to health, drug productions, chemical productions, all down the line. It's just going to revolutionize a variety of different things in particular aspects. Now, this would seemingly disprove creationism because here we have a thing, a biological cell or whatever, that we have been able to make or create, quote, create in the lab.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting medical, ethical, emerging issue to follow that. I saw that story as well from a week or two ago.
I don't know, let's start with the Trinity. So, if the Father is identical to God and the Son is identical to God, okay, then the Father is identical to the Son. Okay, logical contradiction.
I mean, my question is, why did we go to the Trinity all of a sudden? Where did that come from?
I wasn't paying attention to what you're saying.
Right. My bad. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to a word that you were just saying, so I forgot already.
Oh, well, I said Christianity is trivially easy to disprove, and somebody said something.
And I responded, I said, yes, in some aspects it is, in some aspects, maybe not. And then now you're responding to that and you want to start with the Trinity. And I'm like, oh, okay, why are we going with that? And now I understand the context.
Yeah, because God is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Mark.
Well, that doesn't really make any more sense. I mean, it still breaks the formal rules of logic. A cannot be B, and B cannot be C.
Yeah, but Mark, the mistake you're making is you're using human logic, and this is a spiritual issue.
Well, I would either be using logic or I won't be using logic. I mean, if I'm proposing to come about this and approach this in some other way, well then by definition, it would be not.
Well, you're an atheist.
It wouldn't matter. It would be.
Well, yeah, but you're an
whatever.
atheist. You're already like angry, and you.
Not even angry.
Well, you're already predisposed to
I'm calmer than you are right now.
Well, you don't even want to open your heart to this new form of reasoning.
Well, what does that have to do with anything? I'm here to talk about
Well,
logic.
there's no point in casting my pearls before swine.
We've moved on from logic to now my heart. I'm confused.
Well, if you see, look, Mark, have you
You
even
fucked
asked?
up my whole walk here. I was going with something and you messed it all up.
Have you even asked to have the Holy Spirit get inside of you?
I have actually when I was younger, and not in a weird gay way, you know. But I mean, like, yeah, I as I was struggling with my belief, like, I dropped down to my knees and I was like, you know, show me something, you know, like I'm ready here, I'm open, I'm as open, ready, willing as ever to be, and nothing really came. There was like a
Wait, so you're telling me you dropped to your knees, you were wide open, and nothing came? That's crazy.
not sexual at all. Nothing in anything that you were describing there, not even one bit.
Yeah, it sounds totally not sexual to me.
I always wonder about that. That's always so weird. And then there were times when I thought I had like some spiritual sort of like force. Like people will say, like they get goosebumps or they get some kind of like a weird feeling or whatever. I can get that same feeling now. It can be reproduced via like a really cool music, like I'm listening to some amazing music or something like that. And then I'll get that same feeling and I'm like, oh, it's the Holy Spirit working. Oh, that's right, it's this great music. That's what it is. Or this amazing movie or this amazing feeling I'm getting from like the story being told. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, that's just because you're already biased, right? So the thing is that is actually Jesus, Mark.
Nicholas, tell me about creationism.
I don't know anything about it. I wasn't there.
I wasn't there either, therefore we can conclude it's false, right?
I mean, I just said I don't know anything about it
I know.
because I wasn't there.
I know. I wasn't there either, and because I wasn't there, we can conclude that it's just false because you and I weren't there to observe it, right?
I don't think it follows logically.
That's right. You
For
got that
example,
one.
I wasn't there
Hey,
when
You got it.
Eric was shot.
You got it. That's right.
Apparently, he was shot, according to all the news released. But I actually don't know it because it's too far away from my country. So I could be wrong. But anyways, I don't claim to know anything about creation.
All right. So you're an agnostic like me then. I gotcha.
Or you're just not very creative, is what you're saying.
No, it's just
creative in the sense that instead of saying I don't know, which is the most honest thing, you make some shit up and you go, you know, it was God that made the earth in 7 days, and he spoke in things into existence through a mouth that he doesn't have, right? Not a physical one, right? Like he speaks into existence through physical things that we describe, but it's not physical. And then we want to then backtrack on the very first thing that we were even trying to describe. To even talk about, to even show that things come into existence, we then have to backtrack on it. So it's good that you didn't make stuff up there, Nicholas. I'll just give you that. So that's great.
I mean, just because I don't know and I don't claim to know, does not mean I don't make all kinds of other shit up as I go. I mean, I would think that for everybody.
That's right. You don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do any. If I'm going to describe a thing, I want to actually describe it as it actually is. Yeah.
Yeah, but what if you have to describe something? Let's say a feeling. I don't know. Are you dead or anything like that?
Well, when I have a hard time describing a feeling, I say I'm having a hard time describing this feeling. And
Yeah, but if you have somebody require,
and then I will give an analogy to that. And no matter what, if that person requires an answer, the analogy will only get so far.
Yeah. So for somebody to write a story about creation, I would say that with an analogy to the spiritual world that can be very hard to explain in whatever we see. So all the words I use does not quite describe anything about God. It's not even coming close. So that's why God had to come to the world so that we might know him.
Now, the thing about the difference on what you're talking about here is like when I'm talking about a feeling that I have, like that I'm having a hard time explaining, then I use analogies. That feeling that I have is actually real in the real world. Where a God, we don't know if it's actually real in the real world or not. Like the feeling that I have in the real world.
But you would agree that most feelings are pointing to something real.
The feelings and everything in the real world are all going to point to something in the real world, or they may not point to something in the real world. I might actually have a feeling for things that actually don't exist. I might have some concept in my mind that there's a thing that's happening or a thing that's going on in the world that's not actually happening, and I'll have a feeling for it, and it could be pointing to a non-actual thing in the world. So that's the funny thing about feelings, is they're purely subjective, and that's kind of the problem. You don't want to go off of anything based off of a feeling. Like that's.
I think it depends on how good you were trained, how much you listen to your feelings, and how much you understand about the world. For example, if you live your whole life not caring about your feelings, not knowing what they mean, not going deeper into yourself, and so on, I think that could lead to you maybe believing things that just comes from your feelings, which are not based in truth. For example, it could be, does this person like me? I mean, that person could not be even thinking about it. Or I could come up with many ideas that me having ideas about other people and other people not even thinking about me. That could be one way of showing that, of course, you cannot trust your feeling, but I think that's because your feeling is broken. That's something you've learned. You've learned to guard yourself. You've learned to protect yourself. That's the mechanism of extortion. It's the mechanism of falsehood and lies. So therefore, you start protecting yourself, and you does that with lies. Because one girl screwed you over. You think all girls screw you over, but that's not the truth. But you can live in a lie that tells you that all girls are only after money and will screw you over. That's gonna be a lie.
That's true, actually. Why is that a lie?
Yeah, you mean all girls are just after my money and really mean?
No.
Oh fuck, that's refreshing. I thought actually kind of at this point I thought all women were just really mean and out to get me. It's good.
I mean, I get your.
Yeah, I'm just making a joke.
Yeah, but to be serious, I think it's very normal that you burned in some way, shape, or form in your life.
In that joke, and in that joke, it sort of reveals a hypocrisy of what you're describing and what you're talking about. The things that you're talking about are not actually true or not universally true. There's always going to be some nuance to this stuff.
Identity.
Yeah, that's why we have to be humble. You don't really have a way to prove there's a God, and I don't really have a way to prove there's a God. And we just can't even really know if this thing is the case.
No, there is.
I don't claim to have a way to know there's a God.
I do.
I could only claim that he was there for me when I did.
I can claim that there's a way to empirically investigate whether or not there's a God. You just ask, like, are you a God believer, Nicholas? Are you a Christian?
Yes.
Okay. Does God touch things in your life?
Yes.
Okay. With what?
He just touched him.
With what?
Whatever.
With what?
You don't need hands to touch.
I know. I didn't say hands. I didn't say anything about hands.
What's
Oh,
the mechanism? What's the
Just
mechanism?
really quick, right? This is the part. They can't get past this. I just thought of this earlier when I was getting coffee. Your God's immaterial and non-physical, right?
I'm gonna show you a
So what does he touch?
fly genocide.
So according to
All
I
the
have
maggots in there
God
that
is
they had to
in order for me to answer this
out.
question. Because I go with the flow that God is love. And love is by definition self-giving towards somebody else. It has to be freely given. Therefore, anybody can do whatever they want. That's the one.
Well, that's already contradictory of what. Like, are you a Christian?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's not freely given, dude. There's all these like, little hurdles and things you got to do, and you get some backlash from the boss if you don't do it right. Like, what do you mean it's freely given?
Yeah. So in the same way, I think light is a good analogy.
I don't. I think it's a false analogy, actually.
Okay, yeah, but
Yeah. So does God? Don't God want me to go to heaven?
yes.
Okay. Does God
This is
get the
easy.
things that He wants in life?
Not in the same. Not in the
No,
same.
not in the same way that I'm asking.
No.
No. Okay. So in some
Because-
special way. So hold on, really quick. I just want to make sure we understand each other. Is it in some special way that you understand?
No, I would say, why do you think God grieves? Do you think you get anything you want?
I don't think God exists.
Yeah, but since you're asking me,
Yeah.
I'm saying yes, God gets everything he wants because
Okay.
he wants to make love known.
Okay.
And by definition, he has already done that.
Okay. So does everyone get to go to heaven?
I think when portrayed with two choices, either being in relationship with God or reject him, I think there's a genuine chance that somebody might reject him.
Well, yeah. So does everyone get to go to heaven or not?
Everybody gets to go to heaven, but not everybody wants to.
Does God want everyone to go to heaven?
Of course, but he doesn't
Okay,
force
so
anyone.
then I
That's why I
guess-
say he is love.
Yeah.
He will never force anyone.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about force because we already know God never forces anyone to do anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't need to talk about that again. So does God want me to go to heaven? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess I'll go to heaven.
No, because he will not override.
We are. Did you hear? Hello.
Hello?
Isn't that crazy? Did you guys just hear that? I literally just shut that shit down. He can't help himself. Fucking crazy.
Okay, can you please explain it in another way then?
Okay. Does God
Whatever you're trying to say.
Does God force people to do things against their own free will? Okay, so then don't talk about, he's not going to force you because we already covered that 3 times now, right?
Okay, so,
Okay, so does God want me to go to heaven?
yes, you want to.
Then I will. Then I will, right?
Why?
Because he wants me to.
Is there anything that could go against what God wants? Are you
Yeah,
more
because-
powerful than God? If you are more powerful than God, then God is weak in some way. You're limiting God's powers. You're saying God can bend to you, to what you do, what I do, what I do and what you do. God just is powerless to it. He just throws his hands up and just he can't do anything about it. So somehow the most supreme powerful being in the universe, he's all can do all things. Oh, humans now do a thing and he just can't stop them.
I mean, it's a very good question, but I haven't said you can't do anything about it.
But Nicholas, maybe you want
And life is not done yet.
maybe you want to refrain.
So, if somebody asked me 2 years ago if I would become a Christian, and I would maybe say the same thing you guys say. And now he changed my mind.
Did you get like a bike act? Like, how did you hit your head? Can you just go through that with us?
Yeah, I went to bed and I got and I woke up.
Oh, okay, so you went to bed and something fell on your face when you're sleeping.
Nope.
Oh, okay. So how do you explain the God part of that?
Because I was met by the light and that light changed me.
Okay, so were you like walking and you fell down the stairs or did someone crash into you?
I
Or
was laying in my bed, as far as I know.
were you under a tree or anything? Or
No.
were you bowling?
No.
Huh.
It was a normal Tuesday. I went to bed.
It
I
was
woke up.
it was a meteorite.
Meteorites
Fall from the sky, and they'll knock people on the head.
So how did you come to atheism?
Same way you came to theism.
Huh?
I got some good sleep and I thought about things and I went, yeah, not so much.
So you started believing in God and stuff.
No, I started as a child who grew up in an area where there's a bunch of fake Christians around me shoving this shit to our faces because that's just what people do to each other.
Yeah, but that's what I don't want to do. That's why.
Right, no, I'm not saying you. I'm saying like I grew up in like, Christian nation and I grew up in California.
That's why you turned Christian and that's why you turned atheist because of your feelings.
No.
You couldn't stand
No.
Christians.
No, that's not what I said. No, how do I know? Because what happened is I was educated on the subject matter, and then when I thought about it critically and I grew up, I realized it was just all fake bullshit. That's all.
Yeah.
It's not like I got mad. It's not like I got mad at my priest or my parents or my pastor. No anger, no enemy. I just realized it was dumb.
So Nicholas,
Since you guys have
Nicholas here, so I think what Honey is saying, and I'll sum it up, and I think, Nicholas, you gotta really pay attention to this. Honey, what you're saying is that you got new information about the world around you, and you updated that information. You went from, I had a belief before about a thing, and now I've come to a new understanding about this thing. I had previously believed in X, and now I've come to a new understanding that maybe, but probably, X is not true. I never really thought about it, I never really came across it, but you came up with some new information. What do you think about that, Nicholas? What do you think about how a person would approach that?
I mean, I think it's bogus. I think it's based on his emotions, and he tried to explain it away with reason.
Wait a second, hold on, Nicholas, really quick. Again, am I going to heaven?
Because you were hurt as a child.
Nicholas, shut the fuck up. Don't you dang Nicholas. Nicholas, don't do that. It's unbecoming. I'm just letting you know, it's cringe, dude. Don't do that. It's so dumb, dude. Just for future reference.
It couldn't be possibly, Nicholas, that somebody could come to this through reasoning. No, you have to come up with some bullshit lies to say that a person came to this through some emotional hurt in their life. And all that is you coming with this lie in order to make you feel better that, hey, maybe the thing that you think is true doesn't have a whole solid ground behind it. The thing that you already admitted to in the very beginning of the room that you say, you don't know, you weren't there, you don't have any information as much as I don't have information. Now, if you weren't there to see the Big Bang, would it be fair for me to say that you were emotionally traumatized as a kid? Why you don't know about the Big Bang? How fucking dumb would that be for me to make that shit up? So Nicholas, come on, you're better than that. I don't want to have to talk down to you like you're a dumb fuck.
Yes, the most troubling when people say, when they share, like, they came to reasoning, understanding, they learned information, and someone goes, oh, you were hurt as a child, therefore that's why you're an ignorant. That's just not all the dudes, Nicholas, come on.
Yeah, but trying to. He was telling me.
Nicholas
that
triggered
he was living with
them.
a bunch of Christians, and he saw that they were bad Christians. I just assumed, of course, that has to do something with
Who said I said I was wait, listen, no, listen. You gotta listen, dude. Nicholas, ready? I'm gonna make this so simple.
Yeah, so
My family didn't push Christianity on me. my family, my parents were loose weekend warriors from like very loose Catholic and Protestant families. No one forced me to church. No one put the Bible in my fucking hands. I was able to experience different youth groups, church, different kinds of, like even CCD and Awana, and I did all that stuff. And by the time I was like 14, 15, I'm just like, yeah, this shit isn't for me. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Now, no one
why
on me.
was
No one molested me or hurt me or bullied me or any of this bullshit you're fucking trying to insinuate here. So stop with that. Stop with that, dude. Someone can actually be exposed to your stupid religious bullshit and just not buy it, bro. Like, I don't understand why this is so hard. You're not a Muslim. Oh, did a Muslim rape you, dude? Oh, did you go to fucking mosque and someone like bullied you? Like, that's how stupid it sounds to me.
Yeah, I never insinuated any of what you're saying.
You said my feelings. You're like, yeah, basically you got church hurt. Like, it's just dumb, man. It's just dumb reason.
I mean, church hurt is not a stupid thing. It's not stupid.
I understand that, but I'm letting you know straight up that that's not my situation.
So you are not hurt by anyone claiming to be Christian. That's what you're saying.
No, what I'm hurt by is my intelligence gets insulted by people like you when I engage with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So honey, we really started in the same way.
And you've shown that example by you were talking, we get this kind of migraine talking to you, and the fact that you bring up the dumbest of an excuse, of an explanation for a thing, and it has to be explained to you. No, there are just people out there that just don't believe. There are lots of people that don't believe in thousands of religions out there. You equally don't believe in all the other religions out there, and you weren't hurt by anybody.
Yeah, do you have Hindu hurt? Did Shiva like molest you in your sleep or like take your sandwich or something?
So once we can get beyond that, Nicholas, we just move beyond that, then we can move forward. So you just gotta recognize that, just go, okay, here's wrong, I'll think about that, say that out loud in the room, and then we move on.
Mark, I was wrong. I assumed that he was being hurt by Christians because he said that we're bad Christians. That was my assumption.
There you go. You don't want to assume. You don't want to assume there's a God either. Like, there's all that stuff.
We want to assume a lot of
This is a group of domestic terrorist supporters.
Feelings go both ways. If has experiences, and be justified on that account. Also, the other thing too is like, the other thing too is like, most Christians don't actually become Christians by reading the Bible. They have some weird experience that they attribute to Christianity or like Islam or something like that. They don't do it because they read the book, the scriptures, that's not.
That's because they met God. So, and then they are trying to understand the Bible through the experience they had. I totally agree because that's how I came to God. I don't believe God because of the Bible or Islam or any other book. I believe it because I met him. That's why I'm a
It's circular.
I know that's
The reason it's true is because the Bible says it's true. Which is
And you don't believe in the Bible, dude.
Well, in his particular reasoning right now is he believes God is real is because he's had an experience, and that is as far as this will ever go. Is like we can't really know that your personal experience is any more true and real than anyone else's.
no.
And so, and even further than that, Nicholas, for you, it's a problem for you. As Elliot pointed, well, I'll explain it to you. Just keep your mic muted and listen. As Elliot was pointing out, which I could just easily do the opposite of what you're doing. I could say, I have a personal experience that there's no God, and my experience is now just as equally valid as yours. My experience is equally as valid as yours, and mine's no better or worse than yours. And now all you have to recognize is that your personal experience is utterly useless to the whole conversation, to even knowing whether this thing is even true or not. We have to move beyond like your personal experience and mine to like figure out whether this thing is greater than just in your mind.
In the same way that we just know that the planet is round.
Well, no, because at least
Kinda.
Yeah, the way with that is there's going to be some external information that's going to confirm that.
The planet's not always true because it's in our mind. It's because it's objectively true.
And then you're going to bump into the biggest problem again, where we're right back to the same experiencing this stuff as a circular reasoning here. Is like a flat earther could say they experience Earth being flat. You go outside and you look around, it's from their experience the Earth is flat, because that's their perception of the matter. And just your personal experience about the matter isn't to tell us that that thing is true. Nicholas, we could get a person who comes in the room and they say that they personally experienced last night that aliens abducted them and stuck stuff up their ass last night and probed them. Why do aliens come down on Earth and like sexually assault human beings? Well, it's for research purposes. Like you could come up with all kinds of, yeah, you could come up with all kinds of explanations, but you just personally having that experience does not tell me that aliens are out there and they sexually assault humans. Because now that's a double thing. Like maybe aliens in fact are out there, but they don't sexually assault humans. Like they're out there somewhere in space, but they've never encountered humans. You know.
But Nicholas, like, are you a Bible believing Christian or just like a personal experience, anecdotal Christian that feels nice about Jesus or something? Like which is it both? Yeah, he's the one getting sick of me.
I didn't mute him, and so he probably has to recognize that your mic has been muted and you have to come off mic. Usually they tap out after a while, Nicholas. Like this happens often, where like a believer will get frustrated with the conversation because it doesn't always go their way. They start to recognize they make things that they think that they're right
These
about.
people are insufferably stupid themselves. It's so funny.
I've got to do laundry, and then they just are too busy with their own fucking personal life to have the conversation about their fucking God. That's so super important. You would imagine if this God is true and real, it's the most important fucking thing that you could ever communicate to another human being. But yet, like, hey, like, all of a sudden you gotta go do laundry or some shit, you know?
Yeah, that's what pisses me off about like asking someone if they, well, first there's so many ways to do it, but I'll just cut to the chase. Get them to admit or to at least say out loud that they talk with God or Jesus, and then you ask them for something compelling that either of them said to that person that claims that they've talked with this being, and it's never something compelling, or they don't want to share it with you. They have some stupid fucking reason like, oh, well, I just don't, you know. And it's like, you're so full of shit, bro. Just stop.
You think if somebody has a communication with a deity or a god like Jesus, you say, well, communicate something profound to me, like a mathematical equation to a formula, or something that would like solve world hunger, and like maybe like a device that I can put together from crude materials, and like magically it'll produce like food or energy for people. And no, it's never that. Yeah.
Or none of that. Like, that's the thing. So that's part of the problem. So right there, if I was a Christian debating you, Mark, I would hone in on that and I would take a totally different direction. And because you gave specifics like that, that's what I would attack. Whereas you could just go, hey, tell me something compelling, like the best thing you heard from Jesus in the last like couple years, or if you have a personal relationship with Yahweh.
Something you heard from Jesus in the last couple years, like in the book?
I want to hear information. Share with me the good news. They never have any good news to share.
Yeah, you gotta like understand that things like God and religion, stuff like this, spirituality kind of stuff, like the religious variety of spirituality, at least, it's extremely suspect because it shares in common a lot of other things that we think are not true or not real. like demons and goblins and phantoms and pixies and fairies and wraiths, the poltergeists, I don't know, boogeymen, banshees, spirits, all this kind of stuff that, none of this stuff is, we can't verify this stuff, we can't test it, it's not falsifiable, we can't see it, taste it, touch it, feel it, smell it, or any of this stuff, and that, like, in and of itself should get
Oh, so you need to be able to see
highly
stuff and
suspect.
feel it for it to be real, Elliot? Is that what you're saying?
So,
Is that what you're saying?
so I came in late, but I think, am I correct with Nicholas saying he wasn't a believer, then he had some experience, and he met God, and now he's a Christian? How did he become a Christian after just meeting God? Did he meet God and Jesus, or does he say Jesus is God? I mean, I'm curious. I don't know if Nicholas can elaborate on that or not.
Remember, Nicholas, you are muted. You can freely speak anytime you want.
I think he's long gone, dude.
Yeah, no pressure on him. He doesn't feel like talking. That's cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
I actually
we're
thought
about to-
that guy was like an atheist. I don't know why. I've seen him in other rooms. I've never really talked with him, and I just like opened his PTR once a while ago. I remember this guy now, and I just thought he was like some like athlete atheist guy that was reasonable or something. Like I don't know why. It's funny.
So we're back to, again, yet another example of you just can never get anywhere with these kind of conversation with these people. These people are impossible. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to believe and say this thing is true and real, but yet can never show it. Just with that example of, it's a non-tangible thing, but yet it is tangible. The other day, I got Connie tripped up. She said something about how she got mad at me comparing God to Bigfoot. And I was like, because like with Bigfoot and these other things, you have to like, maybe these things are true and real, but we have to like investigate them. And she came up and got all high and mighty, as a lot of us believers do. They get like worked up about some trivial thing because they're elevated on their emotions. I take offense to you calling God a thing. And I was like, oh, well, this was easy. You easily got yourself into a trap. Like, okay, like either God is a thing or God's no thing. So, like, so I'm agreeing with you. If God's not a thing, if you disagree with that terminology, then God is no thing. Nothing, yeah.
I also have to point out here that when people say that they have experiences of God, they're kind of just begging the question. They had an experience that they draw an inference from the experience to the conclusion that it was God. When really what they're doing, like that, any number of things, that could have been an experience of any number of things. They just chose this inference rather than some other one.
And this is the part that bugs me too, and it's so true. The more I dig into this, it's just unfortunate that like it's so powerful, and I think the reason it's so powerful is because it's so fear-based. Like I'm always disappointed when I talk of like some people. I don't think Nicholas would be like this per se, but like certain people that I can tell haven't had as diverse of experiences as I have, just in general, like in a physical, worldly sense, right? And I'm not I've never been squirrel flying, like squirrel suit flying, or like jumped out of a plane, and I've never been like big wave surfing, right? I'm not claiming some like special powers or privilege, but just like I can tell when someone hasn't experienced the things I have, and I feel like they diminish my experience when I tell them about how significant things have been. It's like they have to write it off because it doesn't involve God or spirit or something. But if I explain it in a way that should be compelling, at least to someone who's open-minded and creative and empathetic, I feel like I get dismissed. I'm like, how can you not like understand? Like, if you told me a story like that, I'd try to be like, okay, yeah, I can see how that would be a powerful, emotional, human experience for you that's significant. That makes sense. That's a powerful feeling. And it's like they just don't value it, and they want to push this like God notion. I don't know. Does that make sense? I'm just trying to.
Yeah, but do you think part of the reason why is that in part it's genetic? Like there's the cultural aspect of it, but there's these ideas about evolutionary psychology that kind of point to the fact that the belief in all those ghosts and goblins and gods and garbage is fear-based, but it's essentially, it was an adaptive trait that had a lot of utility in our ancestral environment, but is a maladaptation now that people struggle with, basically.
Oh, entirely. No, and just even the what is it? The false positive recognition trait that we carry on as well. Just like that's all tied in our parasympathetic nervous system and blah blah blah. For sure. That's why I always just try to say when I start off with these guys, I'll just go, I'm doing the same thing you're doing, bro. Like you're not doing anything baseline, fundamentally Maslow's hierarchy of needs based. You're not doing anything differently than I am. We're doing the same things. We just have different experiences that we're like, that are deterministic in a sense, right? That I did not control. I did not control when I was born, that I was born, geography, my parents, my first schools, all that shit. I didn't choose any of that. And neither did you. And now here we are, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting. The top two predictors for which God you believe in and which religion you are a member of is number one, the God that your parents believe in, and number two, the geographic region where you are located. Those are the number one predictors of what your religious beliefs are. Why is that a thing? That shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, God shouldn't be restricted to geographical boundaries.
That's why when you look at comparative religion and you look at all these holy books and the emergence of all this stuff, the main takeaway for me is human psychology, right? How could this whole thing possibly have happened? It seems that it's inherent in human psychology seems to me to be the most reasonable kind of leading idea about it.
Yeah, humans want to fill in the blank with something. They make it up.
I've also noticed that, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? And I know I'm kind of, I got my own thing going. I'm not like a scientist for any like agency doing wildlife biology in the field. I'm not a photographer for some fucking magazine or whatever. I'm just a guy. But like I find that when I speak with theists, like strong God believers that say the stuff they're willing to say, it's almost like they're unimpressed with the natural world. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's exactly why Spinoza and Einstein took the tack that they did, right? They tried to get people to take all of those beautiful feelings and emotions that they have about God and just apply them to the universe and the laws of nature. I think that was their, that's what they were trying to do.
Like it's also so many turns too, right? Like not only they're unaware of other species in their midst, right? Like very few theists that I talk to can name, like 5 birds in their community, wherever they are geographically speaking, right? And then they act like, oh, as an atheist, what you think we're just a freaking bag of chemicals, just like randomly bumping into each other, and it's like, really?
I mean, I think it's an interesting point that you raised there, particularly when, everything is created by God, so you'd expect there to be some sort of reverence, and in fact in that film Noah, I know it's just a film, they tried to make out that Noah and his family were sort of custodians of the earth, looking after it, vegan, this, that and the other, and you just don't see that with a lot of religious people. They completely disregard the environment. There's absolutely no appreciation or anything. If anything, they think you're a bit weird at times if you appreciate these things.
This was my sort of subject of the room the other day as I was pointing out that, and this is where we could argue the overall harm of religion just in general. Obviously, we recognize the harm of religion in all kinds of ways, but in its broadest aspect, and like Christopher Hitchens says, like, religion poisons every single aspect, everything that you can think of. And so my title of my room was like, does religions teach us to be like empathetic towards even human beings, or to have any kind of like compassion? I have to look out in the world. I have to wonder, why is it that people are even fighting with one another? And at its baseline root is got to be these fundamental beliefs that people hold, specifically religions. And if it's taught to us that we should not have empathy for other people or the environment around us, if this is taught to us by a religion that like this is just temporary, this location that we're on, and the more important thing is like some other location, well then like these people are just not going to be helpful or useful to us in the real world in the now, and progressive things we need to fix. They just won't be on the same level. It just will not happen. So yeah, I see the big issue in this, where it's like these sort of people are like pod people. Their whole principles have been hijacked by some other principles that are detrimental.
But I think often the problem is that they don't actually have these principles, not in a way where it's entrenched within them, right? Whereas I think a lot of people who don't have religion, they don't need this extrinsic accountability, like, oh, because I don't do something, I'm going to be punished for it. And that's why people who are properly into their religion, you'll see that they don't actually come out with the craziest things. They're very peaceful, they keep to themselves, they don't try and impose on others. It's the insecure people who are performing. And I think in themselves, they know to an extent that they're performing, that they get very insecure. And so they just take it out on other people.
Yeah, and then the mob mentality that could potentially arise from that kind of environment and energy is freaky, dude. Like, I kind of trip out when I'm watching a big group, like if it's a documentary on churches in the Midwest, like whatever. And I watch this group think, and then they show like some of the dark sides of it, of like, sexual abuse in the church, and how they'll kind of push the victim aside and go surround the dude and like pray for him, and just like really offer warm hearts and forgiveness and stuff. It's like fucking so weird.
Yeah, and I think sometimes there's almost a surprise. So that I speak to some of the Calvinists on friendly terms with them, and when we talk, in a proper way, we're not debating anything. They're like, "Oh my God, but you sound so Christian." It's like, yes, because in many ways the best way to learn is through experience, and you come to your own truth. It's then afterwards, it's perhaps summarized in some philosophy somewhere where it's like, oh, that really expresses what I'm feeling. I'm just not able to express it that way. I find often that's when you truly believe something. You've gone through it, you understand it, and then these things make sense, rather than trying to force it through a concept level where you're constantly fighting it because you just don't get what it's about.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I guess that psychology, again, it goes back to the sociology, right? We got a bunch of people that feel empowered and or just also obviously enabled, but allowed and entitled to make claims and have them go unchallenged. Anytime that happens, it's fucking freaky to me. And so watching that shit unfold is crazy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's where I can't understand where people feel confident enough to even do that. I'm thinking, how do you even trust in what you're saying given how little you actually know? Yes, incredible.
And then we joke about using the Dunning-Kruger effect, as a one-liner, haha. But I mean, we're all subject to that. I mean, I of course think I know more about something that I really don't, and I've probably exposed that, or maybe it's just the fact that no one knows about. But it's like watching it to such a degree is just so fucking weird.
Yeah, I agree. Like, for sure, I think everyone has blind spots. Like, there's only so much we can compute and take in, and so much time and resource we can spend about thinking and learning. But I agree. I think in this space, when you see sort of people with really extreme positions and they're holding them so confidently, it's just like yes, it's very odd.
Yeah, but again, I think that's due to just the fundamental nature of how the brain works. Like the brain is a tool that is constantly receiving incomplete information and needing in real time to synthesize, a nice little beautiful poem, called Your Life or whatever. So that's just, we're constantly, always taking incomplete information and filling in the holes in some way and just moving on, so you just have to have metacognition about that fact.
Yeah, I agree. In a slightly adjacent topic, it makes me question sort of our dependency on external tools to now even hold memory for us and do our thinking for us, like AI. I kind of think, oh gosh, like where does this sort of end in terms of going around with incomplete information given these innovations? But as I said, an adjacent topic, so I don't want to move on to that.
There was this talk on, I can't remember the name of his show, but that guy Tom Bilyeu was kind of goober, but he's had some good interviews, especially in the past. I haven't really followed him much in the last 3 years or so, but he had this conversation with that guy who is trying to stay the youngest. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just trying to make it simple.
Yeah.
He's what's his name?
Peter Thiel?
No.
He is a billionaire, though.
Well, I know Peter Thiel's like he's really into like trying to live forever.
Okay.
A few people like
Brian Johnson.
Yeah, Brian Johnson. He's be a Mormon. He's like, his name's Brian Johnson, and I remember that because now I remember it because I remember thinking in my head, just remember this name super plain. Like, well, who is it? Brian Johnson? Like what? He was talking about some shit with Tom Bilyeu that was like pretty. I'm gonna go back and look at it. It's from a number of years back, probably like 8 to 10 years, even at least 6, 7 years. And it was really fascinating because he was talking about basically your own, not your consciousness, but your, how did he put it? The intellectual property that we are as our own human would become in jeopardy, essentially. And it's kind of weird looking at what they're downloading and uploading now, you know? I don't know. It was an interesting conversation. It kind of freaked me out.
sounds kind of odd. I hate it when people talk about like human beings as like some kind of like a commodity.
Right.
You know, I hate the way economics talks about like human beings. Oh, you're an asset. You know, you're a piece of labor. This kind of stuff. Like you're property. It's just that kind of stuff. Like always.
Yeah, but equally, we've always done that, even when searching for a potential mate. It's always been, assets that they have. Perhaps not in the same way we do now, because things have developed. It's always been, what can they offer me on some level, right? You want the fittest, the healthiest, whatever it might be.
Okay, it's called How to Become Aware of Your Blind Spots. And it's 8 years ago. And it's Brian Johnson and it's Tom Bilyeu on impact theory, which is actually a good resource. I did check in with this stuff a lot a number of years ago. That's how I came across this, because I was pretty regularly watching or listening to his interviews with guys. So yeah, that was a weird one. I just remember this one specifically. There's a few that I remember, and this is the one that made me, based on what you said, Nadia, it made me go to that, and then interestingly become aware of your blind spots, and that's exactly what we were talking about in a sense.
Nice, I'll check that out.
I just Googled it, and it says the top strategy, it cites mindfulness, observing your own thoughts or metacognition as the top strategy. But there's many other strategies.
Yeah, and this is when he was still normal looking, because I have seen him since, not too many things, I haven't researched it too much, but I've seen enough, and it's funny, he was just kind of normal then.
Yeah, I think, it's not true for all of this, but it's certainly a true for some of them. Like, for instance, yesterday I was talking to a guy, I don't remember his name. I forgot his name, but anyways, James or something. I forgot. Anyways, I was talking to him, and we're talking about like religion and atheism and Christianity and stuff like this. And I'm trying to get him to like think outside the box, but just every answer that he came back with was literally just proselytizing and spreading the good news and interpreting every single question that I asked him in terms of through the Bible, specifically the Bible, like what the Bible says. He'll give answers that he's thought were fitting answers from the Bible. And really, I would like literally directly, like verbatim, I would say stuff like, I'm asking you to take the 30,000 foot view and observe yourself, what choices you're making, how you are thinking about this thing or that thing, etc. And I was having that conversation about that with that guy for like 20 minutes straight, and he just couldn't do it. Every single answer he came back with like a quote, a verse out of the Bible, or something from his theology in particular, and he just could not bring himself to what Jeff is talking about, where you guys are talking about this, being like just thinking about how you are doing things. I don't know, maybe is it like a weird mental block? Is he just stubborn?
No, it's called fucking indoctrination and a fucking mental virus.
They can't agree to anything that goes against their belief, right? Their faith. Because it'll weaken their belief in their faith, and they can't do that. They can't even agree that they set their alarm clock in the morning, and it helps them wake up. They say God, and it helps them wake up.
That's funny. That's why I don't believe him. Because that is laughable, right? It's not like I'm laughing. It's not like it's unjustified laughter. I mean, if someone said that to me with a straight face, I said, "So, do you have a smartphone?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, cool. Do you ever use it to wake up in the morning?" "Yeah, I set my alarm sometimes." "Okay, cool. That's cool. So that's what wakes you up in the morning, right? Your alarm?" "Well, I mean, no, God wakes me up in the morning every morning." I'd be like, "Okay," and I'll just laugh, right? I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, I've got a client that plays poker. He's on the spectrum. He's really intelligent. He counts cards and he wins quite often. And every time he comes in for a session, I ask him, "Hey, so how was poker?" "Oh, God willing, I'm winning. God willing this, God willing that." But then when he doesn't do great, I didn't do so great. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything about God when he doesn't do that.
Yeah, George Carlin said a skit like that about when in football. Oh, Jesus, thank Jesus. Jesus, according to them, Jesus is never defeated.
Right.
He only wins.
But this guy's a recovering addict, and he went through the AA program, so he's got to stick to the God plan. To all things that are good are based upon God. So he's got to keep that mindset.
Yeah, James, if if these people are like really taking this stuff seriously, and they say stuff like, so and so, or I have, or so and so has the Holy Spirit, and therefore they cannot be wrong. And they say stuff like, "Oh yeah, Jesus helped, this fucking like wide receiver catch the football game-winning football touchdown pass or whatever bullshit." And everybody's claiming different things. Like the other people, the fans on the other team are saying the exact same thing for the people on the other side of the football game. Or like, if that's too stupid an example, like people do this all the time with like more serious stuff. Like they've got privileged access to God, and other people don't have it. Or like, if I'm reading the Bible to somebody, putting a verse out there, and I say something, and they go, "Oh well, the reason why that's wrong is because you're an atheist. You don't have the Holy Spirit." I mean, if they're taking this stuff seriously, they can't be true.
Diego, you say you see 7 dimensions a second. What the hell does that mean, dude?
I'm just being funny.
Oh, that's a good one. It's a knee slapper. Wow, I gotta write that one down.
JCC, do you know what does AA allow people to use nature as their higher power for the program?
I don't know.
Yeah, neither do I.
They can. There are some programs that are secular. You want to find those specifically.
So, I have a question for the atheists. You guys worship science and everything so much. How do you explain how, everything got here and is, perfectly formed, perfectly balanced with all of, the laws and stuff? How do you explain that design?
Well, I don't know, why things exist. However, I don't attribute it to anything other than natural causes based on
So you don't know.
Explanation.
So you don't
Right, yeah. Yeah, I can say I don't know. I got no problem saying that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
However, I do understand that existence is reality, and that's,
Yeah, so you can't prove that it's not God, is what you're saying.
Right, I cannot prove it's not God. You're correct.
Yeah, that's why we know, because see, this is the problem with how you guys function, is that without the Holy Spirit, which obviously you lack, you can't really read the holy books in the proper manner. And I would just recommend like maybe starting there. Have you read the Bible, JCC?
Bits and pieces.
Okay, yeah. Have you read it cover to cover?
No, sir.
Oh, yeah. You gotta get back to me after you've done a little more research.
Why is the Bible so special?
It's God's book.
Who wrote it?
Well, what do you mean by so when you say right, what do you mean?
Well, it's a book, meaning it has words on paper. How those words on paper come about?
Well, see, so when you say come about, can you explain that?
Yeah, like I can write a letter. You can give me your address. I can send you an email, and that email comes about through the computer programming that sends the word processing program. I'm not a computer scientist, but it dictates it and it puts it into.
Okay, so you can't really explain it then as well.
And then but I can write a letter to you about your address and your email and I have an envelope with a stamp. I can write you a letter, and it comes about through my cognitive ability to take what's in my thoughts in my head that I want to convey to you, and I can have my motor neurons move my hand in a way to where I'm trained how to either write in print or cursive and put down on paper through the ink of the pen that touches the paper, that gets put onto the paper, and I can mail it to you, and that's how it comes about. So the same way that letter gets written, the same way the Bible gets written.
Okay, there you go. See, that's the answer. That's how it came about.
So human beings wrote it.
Well, yeah, human beings had to write it because of the medium within which it exists, right? So the essence of the message is only conveyed by animals, and humans are animals, and so God, he didn't necessarily speak. That's kind of like a symbolic term that a lot of Christians like to use. I don't personally. But what he did is and I can't explain the mechanism, kind of like some of the blank spots in your understanding of computers, technology, and transference of information and things like that. I can't answer that for you right now. I'm not an expert. But what I can tell you is that because of God's inspiration, the hands of man did in fact write the letters that God wanted to communicate through. So yeah.
All right, cool. Inspired.
Yeah, so we so far
by their beliefs.
Yeah, we're on the same page so far, right?
Yeah, cool.
So to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you agree with me so far?
Yeah, inspiration is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, so we agree.
We agree. Inspired.
Yep. Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
No, I'm good. About to go to work here in a minute.
All right, well, I'll pray for you, JCC. And like I said, I recommend just picking that book up, looking through it, go cover to cover. Once you've educated yourself a little bit more, then maybe we can have more substantive type conversation.
Right on, man. Will do.
I like JCC. He's a good guy. He'll probably learn, the truth soon. I can tell. I think he knows Christ. I don't know if he's felt Christ inside of him, though. That's the thing. I'm not sure. still a Muslim?
No.
When did you decide to deny Islam?
I'm not sure what you're speaking about.
Do you accept Islam?
I do not.
When did you decide to deny Islam?
I never denied Islam.
Oh, okay. So you're on the fence right now?
Yeah.
Sure. You're not sure about Islam? It could be for you.
Right.
Okay, cool. So what are the strong points that you're considering of Islam that make it something you should consider?
The strict adherence and applicable logic in its worldviews that have existed. So, like, I agree with things like how they treat women. I agree with things like what they expect out of families and how they're raised culturally. There's certain things that I identify with from other cultures that I think are very valuable from a 2026 modernized experience.
Right on. Right on. Care to go into any more detail? Like what specifically? Like, can you give me something that I can measure so I know how it applies to like civics or I don't know, international relations or environmental health or something like that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a tad confused, Diego. When you say you respect the way they treat women, you be referring to stuff like when they throw battery acid in the face of gun girls for exposing their ankle?
Well, I specifically use the word applicable pertaining to modernized society because I understand that, words that have existed throughout different time periods are obviously going to have things in it that aren't going to apply the same, but logically speaking, right, certain things they do, for example, they cover the woman with the hijab, and they have certain rules in place where the woman cannot go out. I think they need to have 4 men or they have strict guidelines in terms of protecting what is, to a woman cherishable. They sort of kind of expose the strengths to increase, the things that make a woman valuable by protecting and providing and those certain things, even though in the sense, like in the Christian Bible, there are certain things like stoning a woman that obviously wouldn't apply to today's day and age, but the logic behind it, basically one does wrong, communally there will be repercussions because of
It's
that action that
it's just to make sure a man doesn't get a boner, right? Let's just be simple about it.
Yeah, I mean, in simple terms, you could say that. Very simply put, back then it may have been it may have been seen very differently, but how it applies today, from a logical standpoint, that logic is still going to exist, even if it's not as dramatic as it was once.
But I think it's a mixed bag. Yeah.
What is about like throwing acid in a woman's face that makes her strong?
It's soul building for one. Because just because they're Islamic doesn't mean that over here Christians shouldn't consider why God allows for them to have those things happen to people, right? So if you asked God, why do you allow battery acid in women's faces to occur in reality in your creation? What is the reason? It's got to be a good reason, right?
You ever seen any photos of this, Diego? Because I have. You ever seen you know what battery acid does to a person's faith?
If you believe an indoctrination of morality, right, derived from this book, includes some type of violence, like I just, gave you analogous language with the Christian Bible in today's day and age, then it seems facetious.
Wait, hold on really quick. Can you ask your question again, Elliot? I want to make sure I heard.
I was just wondering if Diego has ever seen what battery acid does to a person's face.
Funny you mentioned that. I had some sulfuric acid accidentally poured on me from a car battery, and I was completely fine.
Okay, so
I think
that answers
it got in my eyes too.
So you haven't seen it. That's all. The answer is just no, right?
Well, I'm speaking from personal experience.
Well, yeah, your personal experience based on the question asked. The answer would be no, right?
Sure.
Yeah, me too. That's my recollection. I mean, maybe I have. I don't know. Did you see it, Elliot? Did you see what it looks like? Is it battery acid for sure?
Yeah, it's battery acid. It disfigures you. Makes you look like fucking zombie. There's photos and videos on the internet.
Yeah, it's awful. You hear about cases like this in papers, but I would say, as far as I'm aware, that's not an Islamic practice. You know, in London, I can't speak for anywhere else, but you get girls doing that to other girls from different gangs, or when there's a ex involved or whatever, you've got men doing that to women more generally. I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I'm not an expert on the Quran or anything, but I don't think that's in there, that you can throw battery acid on people.
Yeah, but he didn't say, Diego wasn't talking about the Quran. He said he respects the way they treat women. Those are his words.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is I don't think, as a general principle, that's what that group is doing. I think you get people who throw battery acid for lots of reasons, quite often out of jealousy and revenge. And where you get people who have perhaps a more sort of insecure incel mindset, yeah, and that's cross-country. You get lots of them who have a Muslim faith, you have lots of them who don't have a Muslim faith. I think that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no doubt they do it for different reasons, but I didn't say it just for any reason. I said specifically because they expose their ankle.
But is that, I mean, I don't know, maybe you've seen a case where somebody's been, I mean, I've never heard of that, but that's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, it's like seeing those videos where a chick shows up in the driveway of some other chick, and the chick in the driveway already has a bat, but then she gets knocked out, and she grabs her hair, and she pummels this chick around the driveway, and it was because of what, somebody said, and, it's like, same kind of shit, right? Like, there's all different reasons that motivate people to act violently.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I could draw the same conclusions. If, that let's take there's a black girl who attacks another black girl, and they both happen to be from Nigeria. Oh, that's what Nigerians do. No, I wouldn't. I'd say, okay, that's a horrible thing to happen. I wouldn't try and what's the psychology behind it? What's the motivation? But I don't know if I'd say that is a rule for that group.
Right. Yeah, because if I were to do that, I could just go on one Instagram channel, hopefully one that I'm not following, because I don't get feeds like that, but I guarantee you I can find one that regularly shows white Christian Americans just acting absurdly racist and or violent and or tribal, against one another. But would I go see? That's all of MAGA. Yeah, it's crazy out there right now. Media been so fascinating to me since I could even remember paying attention and thinking about it.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I think sometimes these religious conversations can get a bit stale. It's always a sense of one-upmanship, And I honestly think that when people do sort of conform to their religions in a peaceful way, most of those people are just ordinary, decent people. They don't wish harm on anyone. They just go about their lives. 90% of what you do is the same. You want to have a nice sense of home. You want to feel like you have some sort of purpose throughout the day. You want to have a sense of family, whether it be a partner, a family, just your friends, whatever. I think we get, I don't know, too caught up on this sort of, that really worse than that one. And I think you're right in terms of, the media and how it sort of frames things.
See, that's the interesting phenomenon too, right? Because that's secularism, is having multiple denominations, creeds, and colors, all that stuff, and then getting along, respecting each other's private beliefs and faiths, as long as they don't overlap too hardcore in, community, social policy, and or law. So that's fine. That's secularism, right? And then what we do is then, because it's been pretty successful, fights amongst each other are frowned upon. So how do you manage and regulate that? But then at the same time, it's to be expected, right? Because we are just human animals, and we have all these tribes that we are fostering and enabling and allowing to intermingle and coexist and be together at large scale. And then we tout, oh wow, how wonderful is it that, we haven't had any disruptions or civil wars or anything too harsh happen. It's weird. I mean, I'm not talking off the fly here, but it just trips me out. It's always a balance, right?
Yeah, and I think the shifting social context also has an impact on what you see as a tribe, right? So before, I think it was much more literal. It'd be on your geography and on the colour of your skin. But that's not allowed anymore. That's a very ugly thing to do. Generally speaking, it's frowned upon. So it has shifted, and now you're seeing it more with people's politics. I think that's always been there, but it's definitely come to the forefront where people will feel so strongly they'll cut people off. I don't think they were quite so strong before. Even neurodiversity, that's another really popular sort of tribal grouping now, and obviously LGBT's been around for a while too, and it's strange. We always have this need to have a tribe that acts that we use to virtue signal with. I find that interesting because that's ultimately what people are trying to do here. Their identity, they feel seen, they feel that they're special, and somehow they need to get that out there to the world. And it's I don't understand why people. Yeah, everyone is unique, but we don't always need to feel special all the time and have people recognize that.
Yeah, it sounds like it, to me, it dilutes it anyway if you have that as your mantra, I'm so unique, let me tell you all about it and show you all these other people that think like me too or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Agree. So when I hear people on here talking about people being, oh, you're such a normie, it's just oh, really? That's the personality you're adopting? I remember that being popular when people were in secondary school, trying to prove that they're otherworldly and a bit sort of out there and a bit sort of misunderstood. It's that's not a personality. That's just being an ass.
Or if they're not an ass, and it's just it is, I felt out of system. I always kind of stood back and questioned from the perimeter of the room at the party when I was 5, like whatever, but I'm not an introvert, turns out. Like you could, there's all these different variances of this shit. Yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot. I think human minds are super powerful. I'm always like, I mean, they're so powerful that it scares me. Talking about fear-based, when I see what's going on in politics in the world right now, and I guess I'm just new to paying attention this much because people seem to just kind of be lax about it and just kind of shrug and go, well, the world is how it is, and just history repeating itself and stuff. But I'm like, I don't know, it's been stressing me out a little bit.
Yeah, but I think that's over time because we've been encouraged to always express ourselves verbally rather than process and actually drive change for ourselves. I think that's really frustrating. So we will just sit on the sidelines and be like, oh yeah, that's just political drama, rather than doing what we can from the grassroots, which is actually more than people think.
Yeah, there's always something you can do from where you are, I guess. Unless you're shackled or confined on a flat concrete surface, a bunch of right angles around you. Nadia, are you familiar at all with Western politics over here? Any of the language, law stuff, legalese?
Probably not. Go ahead.
Just like the policy. So, interestingly, Israel's level of like threat based on our own, whatever system we use is like threat levels. Say it's like, green, yellow, orange, red, or whatever. It just increased like within the last couple of months, and then or a few maybe. And then at the same time, we're also processing this NDAA Section 219. It used to be Section 224, which blends Israel's military with the United States military on multiple levels: intelligence sharing, weapons building, contracting, access, distribution, everything. So much shit. So those are two contradictory moves, in my opinion. And what it makes me suspect is that it was rushed, because I think they were gonna do the 219, 224 thing. Originally it came out as 224, and then it shifted to 219 in the last few weeks, actually, which is strange to me as well. So all that movement makes me a little skeptical and causes me to think there's like some protocol triage that they're doing on that particular official declaration, simply because obviously if we're that close and no one even gets that, and then simultaneously that threat increased, that just makes no sense to me. Makes no sense. Now, anyone who's more educated on this can let me know.
You're talking about the threat of them to the United States, or you're talking about the threat travelers going there? What kind of threat are you talking about?
Well, the level of the threat on the system that monitors their threats, like either an espionage type of deal, spy activity, whatever. The stuff that I don't know about. But some kind of like domestic threat. I'm not going to say terrorist, because I don't know if that's the classification, but
Got it. Okay, yeah, I don't know about that part of it, so I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, I just found that interesting. And even if that wasn't on the table, right? Let's just take that off the table. Doesn't even matter. You're like, what the fuck? What? What?
I mean, I think that kind of might make sense because you're talking about two different levels here, right? You're talking at sort of the highest level of sort of government and this, that, and the other, and that kind of decision making, and then you're talking about the general public and that kind of level of threat. It sounds like, you know, if it's some random person who tries to commit a terrorist attack. So I think, yeah, that does actually make sense to me. You're just talking about the different levels of society.
Yeah, it may be that. You're right. It may be a different structural, you know, application because it's talking about populace or citizenry or something versus, you know, national security or something. Like in that sense, that's like the government buildings or our fighters or our thinkers or something.
Because, I mean, I can't speak for the US, but in my space, I see that all the time. So behind closed doors in the national security space, it's a very different picture to what the public will see in terms of a lot of outward policy. Obviously, in this case, you've got two policies that are sort of more publicised. I don't actually know how much attention people are paying on sort of to these things in the cyber world, but I tend to find in the UK quite often things do get missed, you know. And it's only when you're sort of working in these spaces that you see sort of the different signals that are sent out, which on the surface do appear contradictory, but there's actually a system to them.
Oh, for sure. And that's why I even, you know, the media thing and how things are framed as well. Exactly. Like if we know about it somehow and it is happening, that's why I say even officially, right? It's not like it's new. It's not like, oh, well, all of a sudden Israel and the U.S. joining forces militarily. Like that's been going on for decades. It's just like official and being publicized or desensitized. That's fine. You know, just acknowledging it. I don't know what it means. I'm sure it all lines up. Makes sense. I mean, if you just look around, I could always just say on any given day, hey, it worked. Look, it worked. Look.
Yeah, I agree with that. There is a lot of justifying why it's worked, or why actually we knew it wasn't going to work, or how actually this is still progress, and this is the way it had to be. It's not too dissimilar to some of the religious talks you've had, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I just find those two items, let's just say I restricted it to my immediate influence. Okay, so let me look at my immediate influence. Well, what are my resources? Well, let me go to the library. I'm going to look through the card catalog, and then I might get on this new fandangled computer thing they got over here. Not very good on these fancy machines. Lexus, Nexus it's called, okay? Like, what am I gonna do here, right? I'm gonna get online, I'm gonna research the fucking experts, I'm gonna get funneled into some fucking algorithms, I'm gonna get some information, I'm gonna try hard to break the algorithms, I'm gonna get outside, I'm gonna talk to friends, whatever my information streams are, I'm gonna try to gain information. So it just amazes me, like, a lot of this right now, I'm like, I'm not working too hard, and it is factual. It's not like it's all the facts, but the things that I'm like honing in on that I think are of concern are happening. Like it's just like fucking factual. It's crazy.
And even that process though of researching a topic, whatever, like if you there's a balance between looking at the whole system and trying to pinpoint an issue. And I tend to find people fall more on the side where they overly pinpoint an issue and then they're actually missing what the driving forces are because they're trying to isolate this one phenomenon that's happening. But when you try and then sort of plug it back into the system, it can be so difficult to disentangle what's actually going on. It's a minefield.
Yeah, that's why I'm very open to never claiming expertise, nor being all the way in on any, you know, hardcore belief track, except for certain things, obviously, that I will say, hey, based on what we know as humans and our, you know, sense perception, how we catalog things, it's a fucking fact, right? I'm fine saying things are for real, you know? But yeah, I don't think we know shit.
Yeah, I agree. I think as well, like, I think we're overly confident that we're aware of these biases as well. And so, oh, great, we've got these tools to speed up the information gathering for us. That was always the problem. We just couldn't gather enough information. It's like, no. The problem was never that you couldn't gather enough information. The problem was that you couldn't extract the most value even out of the information you had because you didn't really know or define what you wanted to use it for. I think that's ultimately most people's problem. Like the thing they think they want to use it for, they don't. They actually want to use it for something else.
Yeah, I have to say, hearing you say that a couple times the last couple weeks, I've actually latched onto that and kind of give that some consideration on my own, Interesting. Because I'm so profound and deep, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, and I'm always trying to prove myself. But no, it has. It's like I've thought of that concept and have it obviously apply to me because I'm self-centered and an egomaniac. I thought about that and gone, where are you directing your energies? What are you trying to achieve? This is great. This is awesome. Is it being utilized properly? And could you enhance that to a better end,
Yeah, it comes back to what we were saying before. Hey, Erica. Sorry, coming.
I just wanted to give my thoughts about I've been working in creation energy for the last 6 weeks, like fully bringing it in, watching our mind as like a sparkler, right? And every thought is powered by the momentum it is given, right?
Okay, I need you in my life. Can you do energy on the crotch area?
Well, I can teach you how to do that yourself. That's how it is. Anyway, when we have to kind of train the mind to unthink or untrain the thinking mind, right? Because every thought is such a powerful force. The more we direct our thoughts, the more we're living from that energy of creation. So I'll just land.
What's an interesting one is thinking about how sharks have been around longer than trees. I always find that interesting to throw out to like the theist community and see how they deal with that, because it really gives you some perspective, I just go back to the creationism thing.
Funguses were before trees, I think, as well.
What were?
Funguses, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Primordial Earth was covered with these giant primordial funguses.
Yeah, that's rad. Have you seen those like kind of mystical, magical fantasy posters depicting that? You ever seen that, Mark?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Do you? Yeah. Not unrealistic.
Speaking of evolution and abiogenesis, there was actually a really interesting development last year in abiogenesis where forever they were saying that one of the steps they thought was the meteor impact because they knew that the prebiotic elements were in outer space, but they didn't think that they could survive the formation of the planets and had to have arrived later through a meteor impact. But last year, actually a black Muslim guy from Sudan, a scientist who works at Max Planck in Germany, had a groundbreaking study that found a protoplanetary disk that's spitting out planets with those compounds already in them. So the whole meteor impact thing, gets removed from the equation. Yeah.
ask, can you repeat part of that? Because I like go away from my phone.
I'll put the link. But last year, so there's this guy. I'm actually friends with him, the scientist guy on LinkedIn. He's I forget his name, Akbar or something. But he's at Max Planck in Germany, and last year, using new sensors and stuff, he made a very important discovery, which is that he found a protoplanetary disk, which we already knew about, right? That these things exist that spit out planets. But he found one that was spitting out planets with the prebiotic compounds, the building blocks of life, already in the planet. And for all the way up until that point, the leading scientists, the scientific consensus was that those compounds could not have survived what the protoplanetary disks do, and they had to have arrived later through a meteor impact. They could not have survived like the fiery formation process. But now it was shown that it is actually happening right now. There's a protoplanetary disk that's spitting out planets with those compounds in it right now that he found with the new sensor. I'll put a link in the chat. I have to find those studies.
That's crazy. That is freaking like that. Like just like that. Boom. Then you have to shift.
Well, because abiogenesis is like this whole sequence of events, right? And some of which we have really good ideas about, and others we don't, right? I think that's a fair analysis of it. But anytime that it can become more radically simplified like that, it's a great step for sure.
I've even heard, unless I'm mistaken, that we can identify gas to a degree around distant stars or planets to determine, I guess it would be planets, to determine whether or not there was something relative at all to, or similar or analogous to, a kind of industrial time or industrial sequence.
Yeah, a lot of what they do is sense for like emissions, basically. Is that what you're saying? Like a lot of what this...
Yeah, without trying to say like humans would produce on planet Earth, because I don't know what level it is, but it's something like that. There's some truth to that?
Well, all I'm saying is that there's truth to the fact that that's one of the methods is to look for signatures, like to assume that the life there might be like the life here, which is a big assumption, right? And to look for the similar types of emissions, basically. That's all I'm agreeing with.
Which could be just from that point of view, like not even anything that they've constructed, or talking.
It would identify places in the universe for them to try to dig in further. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, and so far they haven't come up with anything positive in that regard.
Right.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me. Like we're to that level that if it came up on the scanners, you could start putting your bets higher on there being some kind of like animal type thing. Or at least something that could, I guess, produce an off gas from production or transportation or some kind of industry or what? Like, what are we even talking here? See, that's what trips me out about it. Yeah, I don't know. But at least there is something to it. I just remember hearing something, I didn't know much about it, so.
Okay, so I put the link. This is not the study, but I'm guessing that this link probably has the actual study, but this is more of a summary of it from Max Planck, like from the Scientific Institute. So this is what I'm talking about.
That's the protoplanetary disk, right?
Yeah, like we already knew that planets are formed by these disks that are around young stars, basically, and that's how planets are formed in the universe. So that's been understood for a long time, but the advancement was a new type of sensor allowed this guy to actually find one to disprove a previous theory. The previous theory was that there's no way that what those protoplanetary disks do, it's so hot, that process, that these prebiotic compounds couldn't survive that. And even though we knew that the prebiotic compounds existed in outer space, it was thought that the only way they could have gotten to Earth was through a meteor impact. There's no way they could have survived the protoplanetary disk formation process, but now it's been shown that they can. That's the advance.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so crazy. That's why, like, when you said that at first, I was like, and then we have to shift. Like, that just shifts the perspective, I would think, in science, right?
It just makes it one step easier. You know, and I spoke to, there's a great room, you guys ever joined that, what's the guy's name, Laird Whitehill or something? He was a student of Carl Sagan, who holds astronomy rooms here. You know, so I spoke to him about it when the study came out. And he said, yeah, it's very nice, it makes it simpler, but, essentially it's, that the previous theory was that the planet was formed on day one, and that the meteor, comes in day two, and it did eliminate a step, but, so it's nice that way, but he wasn't as excited about it as I was for whatever reason.
So it just confirmed that, like, because that's still crazy, though. Yeah, I don't know enough about that stuff, but just even hearing you say it made me think it was pretty profound, so I guess I'm impressed,
Yeah, I thought it was a cool development. I mean, because indeed, there's any way that we can simplify a biogenesis story or tighten it up with evidence, the better. So this was, to me, important, yes.
Yeah, it kind of just confirmed already what the pathway it was going toward a little bit better. That's pretty good.
Right.
What about even just the formation of, like, the moon on Earth or a moon on a planet? Are there different types of formations that can occur?
That's a good question, and I don't know about moon formation, how moons are created. But I really recommend this guy Laird Whitehall. He's very old, but he opens rooms kind of late at night, East Coast, U.S. And like I said, he was like a PhD. Carl Sagan was his PhD advisor, and he's a really good guy. Yeah, Dr. Laird. Yeah.
He's an astrophysicist, though. He's not the origins of life research.
True, absolutely. So my discussion about this study with him was in the context of that, not really about a deep abiogenesis dive.
That's why, I don't know, like last week or whatever, I was hanging out in his room, and I asked him, like, his rooms are always titled, like, ask Dr. Laird your, quote, stupid, astronomy question or whatever. So I asked, so I was like, yeah, I got a stupid question for you. I was like, can you tell me something that typically only astrophysicists would know, that reasons why the Earth is not flat, why it is a globe. And then some people that I know came in the room, some flat earthers, Brandon came in, and like a little chit chat about it.
Yeah, Dr. Laird has a lot of energy. He's, for a guy his age, is amazing.
Basically, Dr. Laird was asking Brandon, okay, the sun, when the sun sets, where does the sun go? That was like the basis of his
Well, I mean, it's kind of the position that they have complaints about consensus in science, yet can't necessarily provide any facts about the flat. No. Right? They can't. Then they go somewhere else. They want to fight me. Like I'm the jerk. And I just think that's an interesting thing. Like, what are they even picturing in their heads? I don't really get it. Elliot, how long have you been a creationist?
When you're talking to me as creationist, I was never a creation.
Oh. Okay. Have you been to the museum yet?
When you mean the, what is it called? The Ark Encounter? Is that the way you're thinking of?
Yeah.
About time though.
You might find yourself pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly surprised. I don't know about that, man. I walk in there and I see like humans holding hands with fucking velociraptors.
You could go in and have like the best pulled pork sandwich you've ever freaking had in your life and walk out with a pound of thick cut bacon for $5 a pound.
Creationist hot dog.
I'd be pleasantly surprised if that were the case, but I doubt that's gonna happen. I don't know, man. I don't get it. That's a lot of money, you know, and it seems irresponsible. It just seems like it keeps things goopy.
Have you followed that that's an ongoing tax sort of scandal, that they took a big tax loophole from the state and never returned on the deal?
Oh, really? Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know what. It's, what's his name? Ken Ham? Is that the guy? That's the guy, right? Ken Ham saying, I don't know.
Just follow Hemet Meta and some of these other, thinking atheists or whatever. They've covered this. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. What they agreed was that they got some tax loophole to pay for this land that they got all this on. And they said, yeah, they're going to make all this money. They hyped it all up. They're going to make a windfall. And like year one, they were already like 50% like at the projected amount. And then year after year after year consecutively have been diminishing returns. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, some people, like, it just, what's weird to me is, like, even in movies and TV shows forever, since I was a little kid, I've seen people make fun of Christianity, right? Like, it's been, like, the butt of jokes forever, which is just so amazing to me. And then you grow up and you're an adult, and then you look at everything and you're like, what the fuck? Like, how does this even get this far, right? Because it sounds like they just did what they wanted to do. They built this dumb thing. They're miseducating people. They're taking advantage of people, pushing their dumb agenda that's based on LARP and fiction. And then they hit a wall. You know? I'm like, damn. It's a fucking weird story. Arkansas.
and I followed the Ken Ham and Bill Nye debate, if you ever followed that.
On YouTube?
Well, no, it was a big thing. This was like right around the time like I was starting to change my beliefs and starting to become more of like an open thinker. I didn't have to be constrained about all the previous like beliefs that my family and people around me had taught me or whatever. And there was a debate between Ken Ham, the guy, and it was all a big promotion, of course, just to make his museum and everything far more. And then, the side of the community said don't debate him because, like, what was the whole point of the debate? But yet he still did. And Bill Nye, it was like a big thing. It was like 10 years or so, or 12 years or so ago now. Like, Bill Nye went and like debated Ken Ham officially on stage, and it would go about as you'd expect it to go. So
Yeah, I just don't understand. Right? Like, you could say, don't platform these guys, but then that would be, not in the spirit of the society agreement, I guess. And then you watch these clowns, you're like, dude, all these people believe these people, and like, just, I don't know, I don't get it, man. At least, TPUSA has been getting exposed and kind of shut down just for it being itself. And that's interesting to me, that whole phenomenon. That's a whole, I don't know if you know anything about that.
no, just tell me, I guess.
Well, that's the, like, Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk organization that has been trying to get, I think it goes into high schools. I know it's colleges. It's young, it's youth and teens to young adults is kind of their main focus. And so I know you know who Charlie Kirk is. I know you know who Eric Kirk is. So just that alone, the fact that our White House talks about those people and does things with them and for them, wild to me. And so their top organization they're affiliated with and built, supposedly, on some level, taking big hits and getting exposed for just being scammers and losing support and having things be shady because of what happened with Charlie and all that shit. Just all of it. If you just look at it as a whole, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? This is so crazy to me. And then, do you know who Dennis Prager is?
Yeah, PragerU or whatever, yeah.
Did you ever see him debate, like, Hitch?
Yeah, I've seen him several times, yeah, I know of a few of these guys, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so see, you have more of a scope of understanding of how Dennis Prager rolls than a lot of people would if they just crossed PragerU and saw some video that does not feature Dennis Prager at all, and it's just like some, goofy, model-esque Mervin's Christian guy or something, Yeah, kind of the same vibe. That's the same vibe. That's TPUSA. It's like PragerU. Same kind of shit.
Well, there are all these crazy Christian nationalists that are running things, so.
Do you believe that to be the case?
Yeah, a variety of people who are in power that we're just waiting, who are now, in the White House, yeah.
Do you believe that Pete Hegseth is a Christian nationalist?
To some degree or another, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that Michael Johnson Speaker of the House is a Christian nationalist.
I don't know about that one. I don't know.
He's part of the purity ball phenomenon with fathers and daughters. So if that's an indicator.
Checks out or whatever, right? So
Yeah, it checks out, dude. Like all it. I mean, he just like it's really interesting, man, watching this. And I agree with you. I mean, obviously I'm playing devil's advocate right now, but yeah, I want to know if I'm talking out my asshole or not, you know. And I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And that whole thing that I told you guys about earlier, that 219 clash, yeah, it's just a contradiction at face value in media to me. That at its like, at the least, it's at least that, and that's concerning. Do you know anything about how many times mammals have been to and or fro the land and back? Mark? Or anyone?
I just know whales are a mammal. They're like a land. They were an animal that were on the land at one time.
Right. And then that process or cycle has occurred multiple times. And I think they have it to, like it's happened at least like 4 or 5 times. I think they might even have it in upwards of 7. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going off of memory. I could be fucking fucked in the head, delusional. But if that is the case, I think that's like these are the things that I trip out on, Mark. That's why I say it's kind of weird just thinking about sharks and trees, thinking about just the shit that's been going on here for timescapes that we can't even fucking fathom, bro.
Yeah, well, I try to wrap my mind around it. They try to, there's ways of visualizing these sort of things. Lately, when I'm trying to think about like square footage of a house or something like that, I have to ask like how to visualize that in some way.
Yeah, that's sometimes the most difficult part is figuring out like trying to go, okay, how do I conceptualize this? What's the best approach? What should I be focusing on? All that shit. Mark, do you know who Linda Carter is?
Sounds a little familiar.
From the original televised Wonder Woman, like 1970 something.
Nicholas, you're back. We were asking you questions earlier.
Oh, yeah. I needed to go.
But more importantly, Linda Carter, am I right?
Hey, go ahead.
Oh, that's it. I just think it's funny looking back on shit, going, damn, like she did not have Mar-a-Lago face. She did not get any implants. I don't think that in that era she would have had a boob job. I don't think so at all. Yeah, just interesting. That's just in like 40 years, or whatever. Yeah, it's getting trippy, dude. All the AI shit and all that. Nicholas, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Nice. So did you when you left and everything? Did you rethink your life and consider becoming an atheist today?
No, I was boxing with my wife.
You were what? Boxing?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. You guys train together?
Yeah.
Sweet. Were you guys just light sparring, kind of tapping and stuff?
No, I was just holding pads for her.
Oh, cool. Right on. Nice, dude. So with regards to the God thing, what was the convincing? Is there anything you could share that you think would be convincing to us, or is it just personal?
I mean, I don't necessarily think anything would convince you guys.
Oh, that's interesting because.
But that would just be an assumption, right?
Well, here, look, you're a Christian, so you already believe in gods, and I think that you could be convinced that there's actually 17 gods.
I'm not so sure.
Why not? You already believe in one.
Yeah, but I only believe in one truth and in one light.
Well, look, you think it'd be more of a task to convince me that there's 17 gods, or you?
I think you.
Why?
Because I already experienced one God,
Right.
and that one God is truth. So what you're saying is that, no, actually, niggas, there's existing 17 truth, and those truths are not the same. And that just seems
Well, yeah, but that's where you're mistaken. You stopped at one truth, and you were wrong in your beliefs. The fact of the matter is that there's 17 truths.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I don't even understand what you're saying then.
Well, I'm just showing that, I don't see what would be convincing to you for a special reason if it couldn't be accessible to me. It just gets back to what your God can and cannot do. We already know your God can't force people to do stuff, right?
It's not that he can't. He can, of course. He can.
Right. And even if he did, he would be well justified in doing so, right?
I wouldn't say so.
Why not? You're telling me that your God. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So the reason is if God claims to be love, and love ignores every other option before turning away, and I would say love doesn't even turn away. Love never turns away, but it will not force anyone into being in communion with it.
Right. Okay.
So it's not so much about forcing. It's more about choice than it is about force.
Yeah, we know.
Because God's ultimate choice was for example, whatever comes out of me is my nature in some way. So
yeah, we agree. I agree with you.
So my characteristics is what is coming out of me.
Yeah.
So if God is what he claims to be and what I experienced, love, absolute love, I cannot see that God could be forcing anyone. It's not that
Yeah, I know.
do it.
Yeah, God doesn't
But
force people to do
it's,
stuff,
it's
right?
just a weird question based on my belief about God.
Well, look, I'm just saying, like, it's not, you already agree that God can force people if he wants to, right?
Yeah, but I would frame the question differently.
But what? No. There is no question. There's no question. There's no debate. God can force people if he wants to, right?
I'm kind of torn on that one.
I don't see how you could, because earlier you seemed to say that, and now it sounds like you just don't like how it sounds.
Yeah, I don't like how it sounds, and therefore I change it.
But why? Why don't you like how it sounds?
Because
it's not wrong.
Yes. Why it's not wrong?
But Nicholas, this God that is pure love, does he have any other qualities or characteristics? Like, is he the omni God or not?
I mean, since love goes everywhere, he goes everywhere. So even to the darkest place, God's there because love goes everywhere. That's how his omnipresence works.
How does that work with like the 2010 Haiti earthquake? You saying God's love was there?
So
200,000 people.
So in the same way, the story about the Good Samaritan. So we have these people who believe in God. They just walk by this guy who needs help, and then we have another guy who is just controversial by himself, being there. A Samaritan, he helps the guy, and he's willing to get dirt on himself, blood on himself, whatever he needs, and he gives everything he has to that guy, which he doesn't even know. He doesn't speak about doctrine. He doesn't speak about believing in this and that. He just helps the person before anything else. So he doesn't even say so it's your own fault you're laying here. He doesn't teach him anything. He helps him before anything else. And I think that kind of love transforms people more than just speaking to people and motivating people to do something different. I think love transforms more than anything else.
This is part of kind of like the assessment we were doing earlier, and Elliot was leading the dissertation. He had some studies that we were going over with regard to the psychology of Christianity. I think that's when you weren't, like you were gone for a while. We thought you were there, and you were just unmute. But it's this falls in line with what that study was showing. It's interesting.
Yeah,
the Christian God is absurd because if the Christian God is like triumphant, it's all powerful, all knowing,
for once, I haven't
all loving.
claimed any Christian God. I haven't claimed any Christian God because I don't even know what you mean by Christian God.
I just think that's a triumphant God.
Yeah, but triune God doesn't mean anything if you don't.
No, I didn't say triune. I said tri-omni. Not triune. Tri-omni.
Yeah, but tri-omni doesn't mean shit.
It does mean something. It means God is all powerful, all knowing, and all loving, or perfectly good.
Yeah, but how'd you come up with that concept? Why is that?
That's what the Christian God
It's like classical theist.
So based on your interpretation about what a Christian is, he has to believe in those three.
Well, is that
I just have to believe that God is love. No, I just say that.
Is your God Yahweh?
Yes.
But the Bible, right?
Yeah, but
Of the
again,
Bible?
Yahweh is a name.
Okay, hold on.
Anybody
Is
can claim.
your God the one in the Torah? Is that your God?
Yeah, so my God is the one.
Okay, hold on, really quick. I just have one follow-up question. It's really quick. Just want to make sure I'm talking about the same God. So, so is your God jealous?
My God is the one Jesus revealed on the cross.
Is it jealous?
So the best revelation we have about God is Jesus.
Is your God
revealed
jealous
on the
then?
cross.
Yeah, is he jealous?
So
you don't know. So you don't know if he's jealous.
I know exactly what you mean.
Well, then
Because
just
you're
answer the
pointing to
question.
reference in the Old Testament.
Just answer the question.
I'm answering your question, but you refuse.
Okay, here, I'll mute up while you answer yes or no.
No.
Okay, so your God is not jealous. Okay, that's cool. So you don't. That's fine.
What would he be jealous about?
You tell me, dude. That's how he's described. I don't know.
You asked. No, he's described as somebody who is willing to die for anyone. That's how he's described.
And I asked you if God is Yahweh of the Torah. You said yes, and that God is described as Yahweh.
And I changed my answer to no. I believe in the God Jesus revealed.
Do you believe in the
And
God?
I believe there's a
Do you believe
difference
in the
between
Yahweh of the
Testament and-
Torah?
I believe there's a difference in how the Torah came about and how the New Testament came about.
That's okay. So it's a different God.
No, it's not a different God, but people have different opinions about God.
Is it the correct way to interpret who God is through the Torah?
So the correct way to interpret the Torah
is through the
and
Torah,
the New
right?
Testament is through the cross. No, it's not through the Torah. Oh, it would
Do
be
I have
wrong.
to read the Torah to understand who God is?
No,
No. Okay, so all I have to do is read your book.
my book. No, you just have to know
Okay,
God.
I don't need to read it.
You would be. So, for example, for you to know me, would you have to be reading a book about me or to say hi to me?
I'd have to know you, talk to you, probably play ping pong, drink some beers, some shit.
So that's how you get to know somebody. You don't get to know somebody by reading about them.
Yeah. Okay. So do you know God?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how I came to faith.
Yeah. So you know God, not so, but it's the same God. It just happens to be the case described in that book.
Yeah. So I believe that Jesus revealed that God.
I'm sorry.
I know
It's like, come on, bro. Like, come on.
You can ask me if I believe that the Bible is God's word.
Okay, hold on. Do you believe that the Torah is describing the same God that you believe in from the New Testament? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so Yahweh of the Torah is jealous, correct?
No.
Oh, okay. You just demonstrate.
But you don't have to read it. I know the text says.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you don't believe in the Torah God.
Yes, I do. But I don't believe in your.
How do you know?
What jealousy
Wait,
is.
how do you know you believe in the Torah God?
Because.
Because what? How do you know? How can you tell? How can I confirm that? Because so far, I've given you things that you disagree with from the Torah. So
I don't disagree with the text. I disagree with your interpretation of what it means.
No. I just said, is he jealous?
Yeah, and I said no.
Yeah, that's not actual.
Yeah.
That's not factually correct. I don't know what to say.
It is factually correct, but you're just misunderstanding what it
Okay,
means.
here, let me look
God
it up.
says he's
We'll look it
jealous.
up right now.
No.
Look it up right now.
He says clearly, I'm a jealous God.
Oh, okay. So what's
then
your
we
hang
have to go. So my hang up is that what does it mean that God is jealous?
He's a liar. He's a liar?
I'm asking you, what does it mean that God is jealous? When God says, I'm a jealous God, what does it really mean?
God doesn't mean what he says he means when he says it in the Bible, is what you're saying.
I mean, actually, he don't use the word jealous anywhere in the Bible.
That's what Christians do. They take the words and they change the meanings. Well, I mean, we've all read it. We know it's there. This is what Christians do. They take the words, they change the meanings of the words. And so that's the only way that Christianity is true. And I have a very pointed question about this. Why should anybody use the New Testament to understand the Old Testament? Why should anybody accept it?
Because of the New Testament's claim. That's why. So the New Testament's claim is that God sends his only Son to die on the cross to show who he was. And Jesus, based on the New Testament, is the exact imprint of the God we don't see. So
That's not.
if we
That's
want to know
nowhere
about
in
God, we have
the
to.
Hebrew Bible.
Yes, it is. Yeah, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
I agree.
That exactly. It's not in the Hebrew Bible. Okay. The Hebrew Bible doesn't tell you that you get to interpret its scriptures through the lens of other scriptures. That's not a thing that you get to do.
Say that again. I mean,
Nowhere in the Hebrew Bible does it allow you or say that you get to interpret the Hebrew scriptures through the lens of other scriptures, like Christianity.
Yeah, I know you're saying that. It was done by a God that is pure love, but I guess he lied to us out of love then. No. I mean, it's fine you want to, like, you try to, like, strawman me in some way, because you're speaking about a God I don't even say I believe in. So what I told you by now is that I believe that the Old Testament is true insofar it points to the same God, but people in that same, in the times, their concept of God is what was written down. So they believed when it rained, it was God's fault. When it stopped raining, it was God's fault. When they had food, it was God's fault. When they didn't have any food, it was God's fault. When they died in the war, it was because of God didn't let them win. And when they lost, and when they won, it was because God told them.
But when they were loved, that was for sure God's fault, right? In reality, right?
No. So the thing is that the Old Testament. No, listen. The Old Testament had a story about a man who broke away from God. Right? That's how it started.
Okay.
Based on the Bible.
The old story.
So insofar
Is it Job?
that no, we're talking about it.
Oh, that's the first book, isn't it?
No.
Yes, it is.
Job is the oldest book. But
It's the oldest.
It's the oldest book.
So Job comes before creation?
No, Job is the oldest book written.
It was written before. You're saying that the story of Job is older than the story of creation.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
At least as far as it's being documented. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
It's dated earlier.
Well, and I could get super technical and go, no, because there's a lot of creation stories. So there's creation stories before that, so whatever.
Yeah, but when somebody talks about a creation story, usually they go to before there was a creation, right?
Right. So are you talking about like when the angels? Do you believe there's a war in heaven?
I don't know.
Do you believe Lucifer's an angel?
Yeah.
You do. Okay. So did he live before the humans lived?
Actually, I don't know.
You don't know. All right. Now that's good.
I don't know.
Well, let's figure it out together. Do you believe that Lucifer?
I don't think
do you believe that Lucifer was present in the? Do you believe that Lucifer was present in the Garden of Eden?
I don't know. It doesn't say so.
You don't know. Okay. Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair.
So what I do believe is that man turned away from God by not putting by putting trust in somebody else than God, and therefore they would.
When was that?
Shame in the garden.
Oh. Okay. All right. So he is going to tell us some stuff. Okay. So what?
But that never happened. There's no Adam, there's no Eve. Okay, that's not how species arise. Species arise as a population over time. As a population, species don't arise from a single mating pair. That's false, Nicholas. The other thing too is when you say like, and this is probably no. I have a way more impactful thing to say right now.
I don't believe in it.
Okay, well then, why talk about Adam and Eve at all?
Because I think.
Then we both agree that it's false. Yeah, it's a story, but it's not true.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say though, that I wanted to say, Nicholas, just hold on a second, dude. The other thing that I wanted to say, and this is probably the thing that I hate the most about organized religion. Okay, organized religion like Christianity and Islam, and to a lesser extent Judaism, but in particular Christianity. Christianity teaches you it trains you, the Christian, to doubt yourself, to not trust yourself, to not believe in yourself, to think that you are less than, you are a sinner, you are weak, you are nothing, you are a fucking ant to be squashed. You are not deserving, you are not worthy, you are not valuable. That's what Christianity teaches you, Nicholas, and that is a vile and pernicious.
If that's your understanding of Christianity, I cannot take it away from you, but that's not how I see it. So again,
okay, well you're not
Christianity. I didn't.
Yeah.
Christianity.
So again, you're okay. So let's just get back to the Garden of Eden. You believe that is symbolic? It's just symbolic, right?
So the reason why I went to the creation story is because he talked about it.
Yeah, but all you gotta do is say, yeah, it's symbolic, and then explain.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's fine if you don't want to understand.
Yeah, it's fine if you don't want to answer the question asked.
So what was the question asked?
Do you believe, yes or no, that the story of the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve and the serpent and all this stuff is symbolic?
Yes, I believe it's symbolic, yes.
Yeah, it's not factual, right?
It is factual insofar it points to something real about human beings.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's still symbolic and metaphorical.
Yeah, but again, it's like my own experience with God. It's something
I
that's very
understand
hard
that.
to explain with
Yeah, I
words.
understand
But
that.
a story is something that's very good to explain things so people can feel
Yeah.
it and understand it.
Even kids could understand that, right?
Yeah.
Of course. And it's funny because I never read the story when I was younger, but I still could like the outline of the story, right? But that's because it's a powerful story because it has weird things, so you remember it. And I think that's how the brain works. You have to see weird images. That's how you remember best.
Okay, so you just think that it's not true necessarily. Like, you don't think that God actually had an angel of death do anything, right?
No.
Right, okay. Do you think that God freed people from Egyptian slavery?
I'm not quite so sure. I think the Old Testament contains stories, history, and poems, and a lot of different.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm not quite clear on.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Do you think that, or do you believe that there was a big, tall building, and in a place called Babel, and that God took issue with its construction for whatever reason? I don't even have to hear that he was jealous, or that he was scared, or that he was angry, or that he had other plans for them.
God writes for Architectural Digest, so it's just a hobby of his, yeah.
Like, do you believe that occurred, or is that just symbolic metaphor too, Nicholas?
I don't know. That's what I said.
Okay.
I don't know which parts are history or which part is actually symbolic stories that points to a deeper spiritual truth.
Okay.
About
yours is like, you're kind of more like one of those, like you truly are a cafe Christian. Like, you don't even really, like, believe it to be true.
Yeah, so here's where it's different. I don't need the stories to be actual truth. I need the stories to be true insofar it points to who God is.
Uh-huh.
So Jesus is the one coming in history and revealing God as the one who is willing to die for somebody else. So he's the highest form of love is when you're ready to give yourself for somebody else.
Wait, hold on,
they hate you.
Really quick there.
So that's why I say you have to read it in the light of who Jesus was.
Yeah. Was he kind of like a blood sacrifice?
Was he like a blood sacrifice?
Yeah.
I mean, the life is in the blood.
Like a blood sacrifice?
I don't know what it means when you say that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, see, I feel like you're not passing the test. I don't think you're a Christian at all, dude. I would just drop the Christianity part.
Okay, fine. I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, I don't get broken by people saying I'm not a Christian.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. It'll make it easier, even. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus never sacrificed himself for anything. He didn't do that out of love. Okay? The reason why he died, why he was killed, is because he blasphemed the laws of God and the laws of Moses, and he broke the laws of Rome. That's why he died. He didn't willingly sacrifice himself. You got that twisted.
That's fine if you think so.
Facts. Why was he killed?
Why he was killed?
Yeah, what does it say? Isn't it true that it says in the Old Testament that he who blasphemes the name of God shall be put to death? Isn't that what it said?
Yes. And where are you going with this?
Okay, doesn't sound like you're disagreeing with me. You want to talk about Roman?
Of course, he was blaspheming because he was claiming equality with God.
So that's why he was killed. He didn't willingly give himself for anybody.
I mean, let's just stay with the fact that he died, right? And at least the stories say as this: he willingly died. On the cross, he said to everybody, "Forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing." He didn't rebuke anyone. He took it like a man, right? That's as far as we know, based on the text.
No, he didn't. That's not true. When Pilate asked him, who he's the king of, and he pussied out. Instead of doing what's written in the Messianic prophecy, it says that the Messiah will be a king who will rule over Israel. He didn't say that. He pussied out and said, "Oh, my kingdom is not of this world." He was a coward.
Yeah, but he also says that the kingdom is come. It was one of the first things he said when he came here.
Yeah, what does that mean? So what?
Yeah, so when the kingdom comes, it means
Thy
that the
earth
king's presence is near.
Thy will be done. Is that what comes next?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
On
That's not what I'm
earth as
talking
it is in
about.
heaven. You know that one?
Yeah, why are you saying that?
Give us this day our daily bread. Oh, I don't know. Do you think there's a kingdom?
Of course there's a kingdom. There's a kingdom of light and there's a kingdom of darkness.
Is there a big chair?
I don't know.
Is there a
don't need to
throne?
be. I mean, it's a good picture of showing how it looks.
Is there a throne?
It could be.
Why? Why would you think that would be the case?
Because based on my experience, I felt something that was more real than this
Like
life.
a throne? Like you were sitting in a throne?
I didn't feel like a throne.
Oh.
So first of all, you haven't heard my story. It's fine.
Have you heard my story?
No, but I would like to.
Would you? So I had a vision. It was very powerful. It was just within the last 3-4 years that God of the Bible is a farce and a scam perpetrated on a lot of people's psychology over decades and centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that wild?
I mean, that's fine. If it's true.
Well, it is true because I'm going to tell you my argument.
No, I don't want to hear your argument. I want to hear your actual experience.
My reasoning.
No, not your reasoning. I just want to hear about your experience. So you
I couldn't explain it to you because it's so personal and intimate and powerful to me. I couldn't expect you to even barely grasp at all what I was thinking and feeling,
Okay. That's fine. I can't argue with whatever you experienced.
Yeah. Did you have some profound experience that impressed you when you were in that moment of time as yourself?
Yeah, I had an experience that impressed me. Yeah.
Can you give us the most impressive part about it?
Yeah, I went to bed and I was met by a light, and this light was more personal than anything I could describe. It was more personal than a human being. It was God. I just knew it. not based on force, but based on pure knowing. And it felt like I was being loved more than I could ever be loved. It was the first time I felt this way before, so it was a feeling.
I like that, dude.
Before.
That's cool. I like it so far.
And it's not the same thing as getting a child or being married. It was a different kind of love. It was a love that somebody knew you completely, but then accepted you for who you really were. It was a more. That's why I can say that God is love, because I do believe that that's who I met. I could be wrong, but still, my experience.
No, you're not wrong, dude.
Changed me overnight.
Yeah. And I wanted to let you know something. I can empathize with that, and I think that's a beautiful story. Because, like I was saying earlier, you know how I was positing that there's actually 17 truths? Well, part of that truth is that was me, dude. That light that you felt, that was me. Because I'm managed by the 17 beings.
Yeah, so that's fine. But what I do believe is that there's
I know
absolute truth, and that is that this light.
Yeah, we know you. We've known about you through like just kind of spiritually, you know?
Yeah, fine.
I mean, there are
So you don't believe that?
It was fun speaking with you. I mean,
Okay, I was just okay. Well, I mean, is it true or like I don't know?
I mean, I prefer not to waste my time, and I think you guys waste a lot of people's time. So,
Okay. Thank you. Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I tried to be like funny, you know.
Have you channel the good liars? You know them, right?
Oh yeah, they're great.
You remind me of that. You remind me of that approach. right there.
They say it, dude. I don't. It's like I don't get it. I guess that's why I say it's arrogant. Because of course I'm being arrogant by like being confident in my position and exploiting someone. But if I'm like, I don't want to like say I don't want to be like incorrect, and I'm not making these weird claims about shit. It's almost like they can't just be like, yeah, for me, and it's like, yeah, I don't think it's really factual or yeah, and like just be more agreeable. It's almost like they always have to like it has to be so real and so special or something. I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't get it.
And it's just silly when the only thing they can, when they default to, yeah, I had an experience, and then they pretend as if there's no other way to figure out whether what they believe it is true or you could be a rational agent. You could use rationality. You could use reason and logic and facts and evidence and stuff like this to figure out what's true and what's not true. Instead, they just throw all that shit out the window and go, oh, I just had an experience. But if that's all there is, then like, any random Joe Schmo can say, I had an experience that your experience is false, and what the fuck are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's why I try to get him to like, all he had to do is kind of concede and laugh at my joke and my comic strip. And it would have been like, I would have laughed too. And just like laughed. Like, right, bro? Like, whatever. But he's all like, oh, kind of like all like snooty and says, oh, I see how it's gonna be. It's like just funny to me. It's so serious. Like, it really trips me out. This is why I have a hard time believing him. I'm like, are you like serious? Like, this is real? Holy shit. Wasn't it you, Elliot? Were you one of the people that tried to like let me know, like, no, dude, this is the real deal. These people actually do, and there are people out there that really do. Even though there's trolls and there's posts and all that shit, people really do believe this shit. Like, it is true to them and their worldscape or whatever, right? Was that you? Who was like assuring me that people actually do believe this stuff?
I might have said something like that. I wouldn't say that's true, but all people that claim to be believers,
Right. Some
they're
do.
fakers and posers.
Yeah, like the people we talk to on here, even if there are a bunch of actors and posers, right, or just jokers, or like guys that are like on the fence, you know, and it's kind of obvious, but they have to play a role, whatever it is, different motivations. Overall, there are some people that you encounter here that actually really do believe this stuff, for whatever reason it is.
I mean, it's hard to know. I mean, you could. I suppose it's fair to like make inferences from what they say and how they behave and stuff like that. I suppose that's fair, but it is still kind of hard to figure out like who's the poser and who like genuinely believes that like God is them, and like this other person is a being of pure love, and they have like some deep special relationship with something that they can't even.
Which is fine. Look, dude, I do. I can't even see my guts, right? So whatever. I can't see my own brain. So there you go. I'll start there, and then outwardly, who fucking knows? Ants have a different world than I do. It's different perspectives, different, different realities, different physics, all this shit.
I think a big part of it is when Dennett says that most people think that believing in God is good, so they believe in belief rather than believing in God. They believe in the belief in God. They think that's the good thing, so they just, and so that carries them some of the distance. I don't know exactly.
Well, honestly, I'd have a lot more respect for them if they just came out and said, look, I find some utility in this and it works for me, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's always been my position, dude. If I can establish that out of the gate, which a lot of times I do, I even like, and I'll even preface it, because it could be a hard one to broach, right? Because you kind of almost got to say, hey, this could be the most insulting thing I say to you in this exchange. I don't believe that you really believe this stuff, right? And if you do, or if you want to just come clean and go, it works for my family, it helps us be better people in our community, it gives us some structure, calendars, we like the events, socializing community, all the things, right? If they just came out and said it, I would have a lot more respect for them. But they won't just concede that it's mostly their opinion and their preference, and that it's not necessarily factually based. It's crazy. Like, why can't you just concede? I will right now. The stuff we talk about next about afterlives and heaven, gods, divine books or not, their geographical, Genesis, and other topics. These are my opinions. Are you willing to say the same? I'm not saying it's based in fact. I'm not an expert. Are we good on that? And if they don't agree to those terms, it's like, I mean, it seems fair. It's pretty general too. There's nothing unreasonable about that.
But I guess the issue is that leap of faith is the trick. You know, it's like that's the trick that gives them the utility, so then they can't back out of it or be aware of it even.
Wait, what do you mean? The faith is the utility?
Well, in order for them to admit that it's primarily a function of utility, I guess what I'm saying is that the way that they get that utility is by having faith in the first place, right? Arguably, right? So it's like they cannot be self-reflective about that.
Ah, yes. It's like self-fulfilling.
Yeah. But that's why they can't just come out and say, I do it for utility. It's because the faith is like the thing that gives them those good feelings, basically. That they're calling this utility, this that positive utility.
It was funny, Jeff, is that when researchers have studied like the effects that prayer has on people, and one of the things that we've learned from those studies is that when people pray, the regions of their brains that activate are the same regions of the brain that activate when people take drugs, like COVID and even marijuana, all manner of drugs.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that. As well as the fact that, all those near-death experiences are sort of tied to chemical compounds in the brain that are similar to DMT.
That's always an interesting one too, is how God is correlated by people who believe in that with like, oh, I took some drugs, and oh, well, if you took this, you'd see more about the God thing that, like I do. I always find that fascinating.
Right. That people could possibly take seriously the fact that the way to find God is through drugs. Yeah, it's wild.
Well, and because I think there's plenty of evidence with not a really big controversy that a lot of spirituality concepts of life in general become top fragments to sort of experiences built around consumption of a drug as part of like the ritual of the tribe. Experiences that get from the sort of substance, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Chemicals, the dose matters because anything can, be lethal, at a high enough dose, and your body has defenses against these toxins, and nicotine itself is toxic and it's poison also. We only get so much from one cigarette, but the thing is, though, this is the reason why it's not like poisonous in the ordinary sense is because they don't, most smokers are just like smoking a cigarette and then they're dropping to the floor and fucking dying, and the body can tolerate these doses of what cigarette offers, and the primary harm of it, whether it's carcinogenic or by whatever other means more long term, right? And poison, I mean, like I said earlier, it's talking about like immediate and toxicity, which it isn't. And I think if we want to get into like the semantics of it all, this will be my final point, is we can almost say that they're more accurately describe cigarettes as a product that would increase disease risk rather than it being a poison itself. So when you look at it from different directions, we can kind of like draw to this conclusion that either yes, it causes harm, but it's not a poison, or yes, it's poisonous, but it's not going to immediately kill you. So I think you have to like.
Do you mind if I ask, like, what prompted that particular rebuttal?
That wasn't necessarily a rebuttal, it was just to give points to both sides, because when people just want to get there and put on some things. Well, I'm saying when people have this conversation, they're coming in with like a skewed notation of what this said thing is or what it means.
I understand specifically everything that you mentioned. I agree with you. I'm just curious, like, what prompted it in the beginning?
Well, sure.
Like, what was the conversation that made you feel like you had to rebut?
Well, essentially, the conversation I was hearing was Steve and Florida were having an exchange, and they were talking about whether or not cigarettes were poisonous. I'm sure you guys know that. After they had that conversation, Florida made his final point by repeating his driving point, which I can restate, or Florida can do it himself, because I'm not.
No, please.
Yeah, I'm not. And my point was is that with the definition that Florida gave in comparison to the definition that Steve gave, or to what they understand, depending on how we look at it, there's going to be different outcomes and outlooks for what poisonous means, specifically in regards to cigarettes. So I gave both sides to, play a little devil's advocate. That's not to say that I'm right. That's not to say that I accept the point at all. I was just
just listening. Go ahead, go for it. Just listening. I want to hear from you. I want to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can use honey or beer to attract all of the flies, all of the mosquitoes, everything. All you have to do is put it into a bottle that's kind of clear so that you can see. Make sure that you put it like in the bed of the bottle. Make sure that the bottle is properly placed so that it's like lengthwise, and you should be able to capture quite a few of the critters that are there.
He's trying to kill them all in sight. On them coming to the site, he wants them dead. He doesn't want to try to trap them in a honey bottle because they will all go into the honey bottle. But if they fly anywhere near the vicinity, they'll drop dead.
Sorry, you're like interrupting.
Oh, sorry, you weren't.
Yeah.
You were. Okay, so Jess, why don't you take another minute and talk about trapping critters? Because I guess that's
The reason that works is that it attracts them into the bottle, and they're unable to escape after.
All right. Very cool.
Thank you. Really,
Okay, I guess.
You wanted to talk about trapping critters? You got it. You said what you wanted to say, right? Steve, you can't assume that a woman that speaks as slowly as her, understands what foods are healthy or unhealthy, which is I was going to say, I thought we were talking about warning labels and whether food is healthy, but if she wanted to take a minute and talk about
I was only referring to that because.
No, I've got no problem. You don't have to justify it. It's
It
okay.
actually works. It actually works. Sorry.
You don't need to apologize.
She's the perfect target market for the fucking red, yellow, green label.
Thank you.
Ouch.
Let me know when I. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the point. Yeah, I got the point. And it's pretty clear, what is poisonous, quote unquote, for Steve depends on, whether or not you're gonna drop dead from smoking a single cigarette. Yeah, exactly. The real point is that, we all understand that, regular continued usage of cigarettes, just like regular continued usage of excess amounts of sugar, is going to be dangerous for your health.
Yeah, in Florida, I'm looking at it from a different point of view than you are. I understand it appears you're looking at it more from a consumer practical point of view. I'm looking at it from more a legal, litigious point of view. If someone wants to come out publicly and say too much Captain Crunch is going to cause health problems with your children, and they don't specifically have the actual evidence to back it up, I strongly suspect that the makers of, Procter & Gamble or General Mills are going to be filing a lawsuit against whoever said it. I don't mean to minimize what you're saying, but you have to be very careful in today's litigious society about accusing any product of being poisonous. That's all.
That's the role of the FDA, right? And it's going to be hard for General Mills to file a lawsuit against the FDA.
No, there you're wrong. Sir, hold on. No, and I'll tell you why you can't. No, you can't, and I'll tell you why. Because anybody can file a lawsuit against anybody. I can file a lawsuit against you right now, obviously. That's the point.
It's not an.
Okay, well, y'all, please don't interrupt me. Please don't interrupt me. This is why I have to read fucking butthole. If you interrupt me one more time, you're going down to the goop. Plain and simple. Don't do it. Okay, just wait. I'll shut up for 30 minutes of it. I'm gonna sign off in 5 minutes and let everybody else. Anybody can file a lawsuit against anybody.
anybody. Go to any human resources department of any major corporation such as General Mills. They are constantly working to minimize risk, to avoid lawsuits, even if they're frivolous lawsuits. Because even a frivolous lawsuit can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't come out publicly if you have deep pockets and say any type of product is poisonous unless you can absolutely prove it. And I'll land it here. Even if you can prove it, you still don't come out and say something is poisonous, generally speaking, because you're going to be countersued anyways. It's not worth it.
Okay, so real briefly, like, again, it would be quite silly for General Mills to go and sue FDA or the American Heart Association if those two organizations have done like an extensive amount of research and science to verify that certain ingredients within the Captain Crunch is actually excessive amounts, number one. And it only makes the matters worse if you're going to consider like current scientific evidence proof that like most of these ingredients are safe. When you consider the fact that the overwhelming majority of the current research that's been done on our foods has been done by big tobacco, big pharma, and big food itself, not necessarily by the government or by doctors or by independent researchers. It's the big pharma and big tobacco that have largely done the research on what is considered quote-unquote safe over the history of America.
And I will close my portion out with this. You guys can talk about this for a half hour. You want to advocate putting labels on breakfast cereal? Go ahead. Knock yourself out. I have no problem with it at all. Be happy.
Steve Apple stocks of garbage.
My last question.
Steve garbage man.
Opposed to such a legislation?
You're asking me if I would oppose legislation putting warning labels on breakfast cereal.
Yes.
I do not oppose putting warning labels on products that are dangerous. In fact, I encourage it, such as alcohol, such as cigarettes, such as gasoline for your car, which contains benzene, which is a dangerous, cancerous additive to make things flow smoother. I think the acceptable level per the FDA fact check me would be like 200 micro units for every million or something like that. There's an acceptable level of benzene that's allowed to be in gasoline, just like nicotine. Pure nicotine is poison. I think it's cancerous, but I'm not sure. But when you have an acceptable level amount in cigarettes, it's allowed to be there. So I am in favor of legislation that supports warning labels on dangerous products, which alcohol and cigarettes, but to put warning labels on breakfast cereal, I would be against that, yes.
So where did this Bobby Kennedy badge occur? Where did that originate from? Did something happen today?
About 90 minutes ago, 2 hours ago.
Did someone, would you mind moving it?
We were talking about what a wing nut is.
Oh, but nothing new happened? You guys just...
Hey, let me see if replays are on. No, replays are not on. You can't re-listen to it. We were just talking about what a wing nut he is. So, no big deal.
Well, if I can chip in, Steve, do you mind to send?
No, go ahead. Enjoy
setting where he belongs. He does not belong in hell. It's not his thing. I mean, he said some crazy shit. Like he said, let's see, vaccines cause autism, and then people with autism will be able to use the toilet unassisted and get a date and throw baseball. All that different types of shit. I could go on for days. I just think it's.
And let me say something that you clearly know, which I've said many times before. Robert Kennedy would have been much better served as head of the EPA, as you just indicated, because you've heard me say many times that before he got to the administration, he has 20 years of experience as a lawyer filing class action suits against environmental issues, representing people that were hurt by environmental issues over 20 years. This is his field of expertise. If he was head of the EPA, that's where he belongs if he's going to be in the administration. Also, we all know, or at least he's clearly given the opinion, that he's an anti-vaxxer, yet when pressed for it, all of his children have the main vaccines that you're supposed to have. Rubella, mumps, measles, polio. All of his kids are vaccinated for that. So he's a wacko psycho.
And I'll end it off with this. Out of all claims that he's made, and I won't just say from my records and everything pride in this, is he said COVID-19 was ethnically targeted to affect and kill different populations while sparing others, including Chinese people, and most importantly, Steve, you're gonna love this, Ashkenazi Jews. So I think that, just
Ashkenazi Jews? Someone's got the vaccine-tism. Someone's got buyer's remorse from their COVID-19 vaccine. It's been proven that vaccines do cause autism. Getting injected 70 times by the time you're 3 years old causes the tism. Sorry, everybody, he's not crazy. You're just stupid. That's what it is. Kennedy's not crazy. You're just low IQ and stupid and fully progressed.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's wacko John Kitover.
He's gonna booted and blocked.
No problem.
Oh, sorry.
No,
He has a
that's.
thing that. Sorry.
If I may, I just want to finish my point.
Yeah.
Is I think for anyone who is going to lead the HHS and is going to be making claims about COVID being ethnically targeting, or autistic people not being able to carry out several tasks or simple ones as a fact, I've been able to. I am living proof. I just think that a person like that should not be in a place of power and should be dedicated to a position that he's a lot better at, which Steve just mentioned earlier, in a more environmental role rather than leading the HHS, which we know is something that he knows absolutely fucking nothing.
And correct me if I'm wrong, we still to this day don't know if COVID started at a secret experimental chemical factory or across the street at an open market. Is that
That's correct? We do not know.
That is.
Yeah, I will say this though, if something happened at the Hershey chocolate, there's a bunch of chocolate went Hershey, Pennsylvania. I think it came from the chocolate factory.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that it came from the lab. I mean, so is this just a room filled with anti-RFK people?
The answer to your question is no, it's not. Please continue.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it isn't, but also don't continue because what you're about to say is probably going to be used against you and it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't sound like it's like a open dialogue.
This isn't like a peaceful place to.
Actually, it is.
If you have.
It's actually very docile, I would argue.
If you have any objections, I promise it will come back to haunt you.
No. And Holly, I'm gonna be straightforward with you. Out of everybody on stage, I would argue that you are probably the safest one here out of anybody. But please.
Okay. Well, listen, I think some of what you've just said, he said, is definitely taken out of context. I think anybody and everybody
Hello?
knows is well aware that that majority of autistic
Charles,
people
hello?
are not fully functioning. I think that quote that you pulled was definitely out of context.
All right, so I'm going to interrupt you right there. So do you know the appropriate context? And if so, please tell us.
I'm driving right now, so I can't pull that up.
Okay, so right now you don't know. That's okay.
Well, yeah, and Holly, please continue, and after I can give you the context, because I have the quote.
Okay. Okay, and then I would be interested to hear the other context for the other one that you said that was pretty egregious. The one about COVID targeting. So I'd be curious about that. I don't know about that one. But he's always been not anti-vax. So this is something that keeps being repeated over and over. The dude is not anti-vax. He's said that over and over and over. His whole shtick is, listen, like, we should be, there's some questionable links that I would like to see if there's a there there. That's his whole thing. And he's been demonized and crucified for it. So that's all I got.
That's also not true. Share that with you, but you can look it up. Actually,